Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifted. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. Yes, Kelly. I did finish eating. Thank you guys so much for coming back. So Agnifilo said he has 1 more hour left, and so I figured we'll go over that hour. And I have perused the internet, and for the most part, I think people are saying that Agnifilo is connecting to the jurors. Well, at least a couple of them. They said they're laughing at his corny jokes. I can tell he was going off cuff. Remember I said that in the last video? I was like, it sounds like maybe he's not even really going. He may glance at his notes every now and then, but he is letting the jurors know he knows his case. My understanding is yesterday the government was reading like, hello, my name is, and I represent the United States of America. This is a case about a leader over a criminal enterprise. Like she was standing at the podium and she was just reading it. Well, Mark Agnifilo, according to people in the courtroom, is walking from place to place. He has on a microphone where he can, a cordless microphone, and he's going around and he doesn't even have notes in his hand. He's letting them know that he knows his case. So that makes sense with some of the lines that were coming out because it was like, oh, okay. So he's just talking and connecting. Now, apparently there are, at least I heard from one person, a couple of jurors that are laughing at all of his jokes. So it sounds like it may be personable. And because he is walking, apparently they are actually following him. So it may be working out for him. So it may not be as bad as it's sounding on the tweets. Like I said, I'm like, the way these tweets sound, I don't know. But according to what I've seen, people are saying he's basically saying that this is personal. This is a bedroom situation. They're trying to go into the bedroom. And he's impressed some people. A lot of people were already pro Diddy, so I don't know how much weight you really put on it. However, it does appear from people that have, well, at least one or two people that have been kind of in the middle, where they said, at least one of the bloggers that was saying yesterday that the prosecution cook, she did say, like, I think he's connecting to the jurors. There's like two of them that's laughing at all his jokes and blah, blah, blah. So we'll see how this goes for this last hour. So I'm interested. Yeah, make sure y'all hit the like button. Andrew said, everyone I've just seen says Agnifilo made several missteps. They said he appears to have been knocked off his square after the objection. At the sidebar, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, there are some, one of the people I know has been pro Diddy all day. So I don't know how you take, that's why I said it's very hard. I just wanted to see how the jurors were connecting. Like I told you, I was like, one thing I can't see is how the jury is connecting. And also we're only getting bits and pieces. We're not getting everything. So it's almost like we have to put it in context to try to figure out what they're talking about, which is a disadvantage for us that are not actually in the courtroom. We have to rely on people that are reporting it. And most of the people reporting it are not neutral. Most of the people reporting it, they either on one side or the other. And so you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. But I was more interested, like I said, in is the jury. It don't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what any of the bloggers think. All it matters is if the jury seems like they're paying attention. Said yesterday, the jurors looked like a couple of them was dozing off and going to sleep. It's not helpful to you if someone is going to sleep, because then they might miss the important parts that you think that they should hear. So it's going to be very, very interesting. A couple of people said they wasn't even coming back for the last hour. They think that Diddy cooked, he did his thing. So yeah, we'll just keep reading it, and ultimately it's going to be up to the jurors. It sounds like the government is, the court has said they're not even going to do the charging instruction today. They're going to wait till Monday. So they'll start in the morning, do the charging instruction, and then the jury's going to start deliberating. Thank you so much, Queen Brielle, for gifting 5 memberships. If you received a membership, make sure you tell her thank you. And G said Armand was in utter disbelief on how bad Nifilo has been in his opinion. He's been pretty neutral. Mims mentioned the 2 jurors laughing at jokes, but he also said that Nifilo was underwhelmed. Okay. Call Me Darling said, I just watched a few lies and many aren't impressed with the defense closing. My 60 plus cents said, as long as the jury follows the law, Diddy is going down. That's what she said. Jackson Tabasco, good to see you. Elite Leo said, I was watching Original Queen Amadea. I'm sorry, I know I probably mispronounced that. And she was in court and gave a live update, and she said Agnifilo was doing a good job. She said the prosecution bored them to sleep. So I did hear that people were asleep yesterday, and that is a risk that you do run when you're there, when you don't really connect to them, and you have to have some type of theatrics to it or anime to keep them interested. That you do have to do. Now, some of the stuff where they were like, that I seen him saying was like that don't make no sense. And him telling the judge he's being sarcastic and all of that. Some people it may connect to some people, and some people it may offend, but that is a risk that you take. AK said, Nick at night said the defense's closing was a snooze fest. Okay. Some of these people y'all naming, though, in my opinion, be one-sided on some of their stuff. I'm not saying specific Nick at Night or any of them. I haven't watched any of her commentary when it comes to this. But some people that I've clicked on of what you guys said, and I ain't gonna say who, they kind of been one-sided too. That's why I said it makes it difficult. And typically I'm the one in court going, flying all over and trying to watch these cases, but a 6-week trial as an attorney is like, come back and you ain't got no clients. So that's not gonna happen. Like literally, like I said, every day this week I was in court. So that's just not gonna work for me. Even though it's online, what's the point of me going to New York and then I gotta stay in the hotel room and be online for court? Ms. Buckeye said, thank you for reporting the facts. Thank you so much, Ms. Buckeye, for all of your support and being a great, consistent, loyal mod. I appreciate you. Nick said, I don't like his style at all. I think he's being loud and corny, moving around to keep the jury focused. That doesn't mean he's not still adding facts along with the weird jokes. I want to see transcripts. Someone said the defense didn't provide witnesses. The least they could do is give an outstanding closing argument. Sounds like mixed reviews is what I'm saying. Queen Brielle said most are biased and one-sided, that are boots on the ground. Yeah, most of them. And they're getting on these shows every time, they're getting on a lot, CNN and NBC and CBS and everybody that's there, because a lot of them, they're worried about them money shots. So they'll have people come in and then because that's how it was when I went to the Tory Lanez trial. I think it was like Peacock was out there, and what they did was have your disclosures already out there for you to go ahead, your little agreements. Fox Soul, I think I was on Fox Soul. Like they'll be out there and they'll try to get you to come onto their shows and give your opinions as it relates to the high profile trials, because they don't necessarily send someone there every single day because they have other things to be covering. So, but hey, ultimately it's up to the jurors. I guess I will never know what it really is because I'm not there. But from what I read with the tweets, I just was like, I don't know if I like his style, but again, that's just tweets. I don't get the whole context of everything. There are things that are missing, and I gave that disclaimer. So this is literally just based on tweets. That's why I prefer court transcript and those at the court unless it's a lawyer. Yeah. Court transcripts are expensive. They're making really good money off of selling these transcripts. She only got transcribed once and sell everybody the transcript for the price that she's going to charge. Gwen said the prosecution doesn't need to do a rebuttal because Agnifilo did it. I don't know about that, Gwen. Trust me, they gonna rebut. They gonna rebuttal, and they gonna go. Why they're gonna if they know how to do it right, they gonna be real methodical and just hit these points or whatnot. But I think this was actually a case that he could win at least a couple of those. The Rico, I think he could have won that. And he may still be able to win or get a not guilty rather. Same thing with the trafficking. I've always said the prostitution was a little like how do you really overcome that? I don't know. They say Comey is doing the rebuttal. Jay said the great thing about not knowing the jury or seeing the jury is you can now have millions speculate. It's like watching Judge Judy. Yeah, I like Sean G too, but you know he like Puffy too. L Jackson 52. I watch Sean G too. He's cool. Check me out. I like his commentary, but yeah, he I mean, he feel rejuvenated from today than yesterday because you hear just like with anything, what people are not used to that don't really follow trials is the government lays out their case and their theory of the case, and it always sounds like, "Ooh, they got it." Then the defense comes up immediately afterwards, and they just dismantle half of what they do, or they challenge the credibility. So then they're like, I don't know, maybe the defense has it. So it always goes back and forth where it seems like the government has it. So people were saying things yesterday. I'm like, okay, let's see what the defense has to say. The problem is everyone went home on the government. So the defense couldn't immediately come back like they do in cross-examination where they can just dismantle. People left like, oh, they proved everything. That's how they went, they went home. And when the trial obviously is different, like I said in the last video, they don't understand that a lot of us defense attorneys, I heard them saying Brian Steele was rubbing his head, and they were just looking at all the defense attorneys' demeanors, and a lot of it is you just be thinking it's bull crap, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get it. You know how you just, even if you listen to somebody's conversation, but you trying to hurry up, you like, I wish they hurry up because I got a rebuttal. Like, oh, I got something to say. I think it's more so that I don't think it was they were just concerned because they've always maintained the same position. This isn't criminal. This is a toxic relationship, or this is a lifestyle. They've maintained that same premise even when they were trying to when they did, like Agnifilo did videos or did interviews prior to, I think, a gag order or whatnot. He did a few interviews. He did one with TMZ, and he basically said it was a lifestyle. This was all consensual. Now, somebody did say something about Rico's and that I guess he's done well with Rico's, Agnifilo, so maybe that's why he was hired. Like I said, I only knew about, I learned about him through that Rainier, and he kind of had the same argument. It was consensual, so I was like, ooh. Yeah, Brina says Sean. Oh, he seemed a lot down yesterday. Usually he's very confident. The defense is, they tore him up, perjury. They all need to go to jail. Like, he's very hyper. Yesterday, when he looked like that, I said, the government must have done their thing. Like, they laid it out. They told him, you ain't got to prove what everybody think that you have to prove. These facts sit. You may not like her presentation, but she got the facts to fit the statue, is what it sounds like. And Agnifilo is getting up and he's casting doubt, which is what he's supposed to do. That's what he's hired for. Yeah, with the suspenders and hat. Yeah, some people are gonna be, you said Tisa Tales. From what I've heard, if I was on the jury, he would get a not guilty from me. That's what AK said. Right. I don't even know if closing would even matter to me if I was on the jury. Give me those jury instructions, and I'm about to see if it look more like it's personal, it's a wrap on all these charges. Brina said, I believe people like myself like your content because you're fair and I try to be. And when if I'm not gonna be, I'll at least tell you and admit it. I'll at least tell you. I don't like I'm just totally unbiased. No, I'm a human being. And sometimes I can't put it aside. Nicole should have closed or another female lawyer. I agree. Maybe Tenny Garagos. I think she did the opening though, right? Did she do the opening? So, they're the lead counsel, so they splitting up. They splitting up the work. Shanta said he said Agnifilo had full command of the courtroom. Well, so what happens, and I told you if you follow me, you know that I said this because I'll give you certain just I don't know tips, but certain information related to even how I was when I did defense or when I go in the courtroom. So I do agree that you have to because the government is always in these courtrooms. Sometimes and they seem like they just know it, and this is their domain, and you're a visitor. You never wanted to make it look like you're a visitor. So the court reporter, the staff, you got the marshal speaking to you. You have to be the same. They go back for coffee, I'm going back for coffee. You got donuts for the government, I'm getting a donut. Like that's until it becomes natural. Okay, she's a part of this. By that time, the trial is usually over. But nonetheless, you still try to command the courtroom. So I do agree with that he should do that. That's great. But him just and he should know his case, and it sounds like he knows his case, and he's going off of his head, which means sometimes the most articulate words are not coming out because you're just conversing. I think that's what his tactic or his style is. That he wants it to be like we're having a conversation. We sitting back like you heard about what happened with Sean Combs. That ain't no Rico. He just freaky in the mug. He's kind of coming across. I think that's what he's trying to do, where it's almost like you're on the porch in your rocking chair gossiping. And so he has to get to, and hopefully in this last hours, if he hasn't done it before, he needs to apply how the facts, how there's reasonable doubt on the different elements you have to prove for each crime. Andre Nelson, thank you for the super chat. She said, I've been watching you for the Diddy trial updates from the beginning. You've done a great job. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Miss Buckeye said, please support Pam's great unbiased commentary, except for this one. Super chat or cash app. Thank you so much, Miss Buckeye. You're the best. Okay, let's see what they got going on over here. Make sure y'all hit the like button so people know we're back on if they want to follow this with us. So they did come back and let's see. Let's go back here. Okay. So the jurors re-enter and the judge says, welcome back. You may proceed. So Combs said, I'm back on it. Combs' attorney said, we back on it. Said there was a suggestion Cassie didn't get the same amount of promotion as others are on Bad Boy. I think Capricorn Clark is an imperfect witness, but she did say that Cassie got the lion's share. So basically, even though he didn't drag Capricorn from here to Texas and said she ain't already, she ain't the best of a witness, but she did have some truths, and that's that Cassie was promoted a whole lot, and Bad Boy put a whole lot of money behind her. Either side played the videos for the witnesses, but Cassie's videos were on her device. Now, I agree with that. They were on her device, and we talked about that over here. She said the devices were damaged, but the expert was able to open it. I don't know what role these videos played in her life, but she ain't delete them. So I think he may be suggesting she may come back every now and then and be like, back down memory lane. Thank you so much, Patrice, for the cash app. I appreciate that. She pulled up her phone. She like, Back down memory lane. He's pulling up videos. That's what he kind of suggesting. Said, I don't know what she was doing with the video, but she definitely had him and she ain't get rid of him. For Ice Forever said, I feel like Agnifilo got his final payment. It's not going as hard to advocate for Diddy because from what I'm getting from these tweets, it's giving, it's whatever happens, happens. Now, I think it's more so his style. That's all. And if he's connecting to the jurors and he got a few laughing, shoot, all you need is one. If you're not going to get a full acquittal, you want you a good hung jury. That'll work too. Just saying, what else she keep the videos for? That's what he want to know. What she keep the videos for? This was a traumatic time in her life. Why did she keep these devices? She could have took them to one of those locations where you could smash stuff and just make sure it just never existed. But she probably had these devices in the same house where she's at with her husband and kids, though. It's very interesting. He said, I don't know what role they played, but she ain't delete them. AKA, I think she was peeping and looking at them every now and then. In the videos, the hotel rooms are beautiful. The music is great. Usher and whatnot. Usher probably like, what I got to do with this? Everybody want to use my music. Trump just used my music. Daddy's home. Trump just used my, like, leave me out of it. I just got my bearings back in the last couple of years. Leave me alone. You were never meant to see these videos. Let's be honest. Sean Combs was never going to release these videos. He might have said it, but no way. No way. No way. No. Cassie is eating watermelon. They are listening to music. These are beautiful nights. The two escorts, the Punisher, I call him, he got it from basketball on West 4th Street. That's supposed to be where he said he got the name the Punisher from. They thought Cassie was really into them. They were naive. So they thought Cassie liked them too. They was like, look at this. She's so beautiful and she likes me like that. I don't think this is the only man making homemade porn in America. He said, I don't think this is the only man making homemade porn in America. I think it is a pretty popular thing these days. Jane, she wants to post things on Instagram, I guess. That's what she's into. I think she loves Sean Combs too. You guys know who the father of her child is? You know who she was with in Vegas. She is comfortable with this. The government is not saying every hotel night is extravagant. They isolated September 2023, jealousy over a yacht. Sometimes Jane didn't like the guy. She said one smelled. Then the guy is sent back. 3187. I guess that's the exhibit. The escort gets sent packing. Oh, you stink. Get your stuff and get out of here. He's a bum, but they still paid him. No ex, got paid, paying for time. I was about to say, if you don't qualify that statement with him getting paid for time. Remember, he's supposed to be getting paid for being quiet, Agnifilo. Paid to not say nothing. I need you to just be consistent. Yesterday, they just dismissed it. But that's what happened. Jane wanted it to happen. She called her guy, Cabral. She liked Cabral. She wrote muy caliente. Then there's the sobriety party. Jane is angry over Gina. And then she says she regretted it, resented it, but she agreed to do it. Unfortunately, So what y'all think so far? He did call him a bum. Y'all see what he said on there? He's a bum. Jojo said abuse. Those people were living out their fantasies. I'm back, Southern Bill. You know, they said an hour. I could do an hour. Let's keep it real, said the saying, quote, common sense is not so common. It's manifesting in the chat right now. Okay, let's keep it real. Let's just be a little bit respectful. Call Me Darling said, after Cassie's testimony, I felt she still loved Diddy. I felt like if he asked her to be with him again, she would. Cassie and Jane would stay with him. Let's just be clear. That's what I believe too. You know, of course, I'm not in anyone's head, but ain't no way you're going to, I say you ex-trafficked me, you abused me, and I ain't want none of it out of all these years. I felt obligated so my music could come out and I could have a career, that when they ask me, do you still love him? I'm going to respond, I had love for what we had. I have love for what we had. I'll be like, do I love him? Absolutely not. And she was not very definitive on that. I do agree with that. It's more women on the jury than men, Andrew. Mo Better said he's not lying. Elite Leo said, and why would Cassie go make more videos? So he can have more ammunition. She was so afraid of them being leaked. She thought the answer was to make more videos. I guess she had the videos. You got to look at Cassie. She had the videos. And also when it came to the relationship, if you're scared of your spouse, you're not about to be just messing with the people she was messing with. And they all were in the industry. So I don't know. She had a get back. Cassie has always shown that she got that get back spirit, though. That's how she ended up walking away with that $20 million from him and $10 million from the hotel. She comes across as having that get back spirit, meaning you do this and I'm going to do that. You do this, I'm going to do that. And she did it all the way to the end. Now she running off in the sunset with her millions. Sherman, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Shantae said, meanwhile, that lady has been away from him for 7 years, ain't put out a song, and canceled the tour. As soon as she got paid, she was broke. Mo Better said, exactly. That's why this case is some BS. Cassie wanted her money, not Puff being locked up. Judon said, told y'all ain't no victims. Kim West said, Leo, that doesn't excuse Diddy from his crime. So I missed the beginning of that conversation. And Ali Kell said, got a bit of free time. Glad I caught a live. Hope everyone's day is going good. Thank you so much. Glad you were able to catch a live. Make sure you hit the like button, okay? Appreciate you. Elite Leo said it's 8 men on the jury, but I think it was also said that they're older, white, and non-black. Yeah, there's only one black person, I think, on the jury now, because remember the other black guy, or I don't know, I guess he was black. I mean, I've kind of seen TMZ when I think that might have been somebody who got off the jury before anything. But yeah, the black guy, one of the black guys got off the jury. I was kicked off the jury for lying about where he lived at, allegedly lying. Granny the Great, thank you so much for the super chat. She gonna add respectfully. Yeah, just add respectfully, you know. You ain't really trying to be mean or nothing. It's just we all get a little passionate here and we don't necessarily appreciate everyone's opinion. So then Niflo says, she said that she agreed to it, unfortunately, but she agreed. That's it. We can be done with it. The house, Jane had the worst lawyer in the world. Her low child support from the father, in my opinion, Mr. Combs did the right thing, paying. Now, I'm agree with you, Agnifilo. See, you catching me. I'm getting you now in the second half. You must have watched my video. I'm feeling you now, Agnifilo. I agree with you. I think it's ridiculous for you to have a millionaire baby daddy, and you almost are paying with somebody who makes maybe $150,000 a year may have to pay for child support. I think it's crazy. Basically, Diddy was paying more than what her baby daddy was paying. So he was paying her 10 and the baby daddy was paying her 5. So yeah. Let's go on. Vintage says she was having buyer's remorse. Yes, like a lot of people do in relationships. You look back and you like, dang, I wish I could erase that whole experience. We know that's a lie. We know that is a whole lie when that song came out. You said her BM hides his money, allegedly. You said he put 5 on it. Dr. Pat said, peace and blessings. She shouldn't have been so damn greedy, wanting more child support. Dang, Dr. Pat, she came in like, peace and greetings to everyone. Then she said, she shouldn't have been so damn greedy, wanting more child support. Let me balance the respect with the disgust. Oh, you guys are funny to me. So then Agnifilo goes on, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's paying for the house for a child that's not his responsibility. I mean, they watched porn. Jane got him a mobile TV to watch it on. So he'd make less porn, she said. I'm not sure that's how it works. I'm not sure. The photos Combs has a big pour of wine. Strawberries in there, but it's big. Not like a fancy restaurant. Half an hour later, something inexplicable happens. She slams his head into the counter and calls him a pedophile. The woman, Ali, is of age. Okay. So basically he's saying like the woman was of age. You may not have liked her, thought she was too young, but she was grown. Whoever that she's saying that he was a pedophile. So that's the one where basically after Cassie's lawsuit that she knew he ain't got no time one-twoing nobody, she decided that she was mad at Diddy, so she slammed his head in the table. I just keep your hands to yourself. That goes for men and that goes for women. I don't condone women that do the exact same thing. And then like when you punch somebody and they punch you back, you looking shocked, and then you want to bring up morals. A man shouldn't hit a woman. Well, keep your hands to yourself, okay? Just keep your hands to yourself. But anyway, then Agnifilo goes on. Jane says Combs kicked her doors in, but he didn't hit her. I'm not saying he should, but he didn't. That's kind of is what you're saying. You saying she kind of deserved. He kind of deserved and should have got his lick back, but he didn't. He just kicked her door in. Here's what we do know. A text from Jonathan Perez says they are fighting. 10:14, he says, just normal, being jealous. PD says, don't come, it's all good. So a lot of this stuff with these personal assistants, of course, the things that even Diddy would probably do for some of these women, they probably did go out and say, well, what would you like? What would you like to eat? Jonathan said he was going to the stores, picking out outfits. Jane wanted his opinion. Hey, bro, can you meet me over here at the store? I need to get some new lingerie. And he would come there. So it was once they become like in the orbit of his life, they do become a part of the things that he's doing. And I think what the government is doing, like I said, is combining that with his actual businesses. So, and this is why I said it's a slippery slope. Okay. What are you guys saying? Happy Friday, Denise. Good to see you. Southern Belle's Charm said they were tussling like cats and dogs that day. That's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. I don't know. I don't know who that person is, but you know, when you say Ali, I'm just like, it's only Ali I know. We had a gifting. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you, Tony Smith, for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate it. And I owe you guys a live. I really do. What else you guys are seeing? Mo Better said I thought she was getting like 40K. I didn't even know this lady, honestly, till I don't know this lady. Let me stop, because we're not supposed to be putting who it is. She's Jane. She wants to be anonymous. So we cannot supposed to put her information in the chat. Mimi said, I'm thinking back 10 to 20 years trying to figure out who I can sue as we speak. Revisionism, we all like to change things, change stories, and say that, well, really what had happened was, so then. Now Jane changes into another dress. I don't know. No sweats. She says she hides behind a wall for 2 hours. I submit it's just not possible. She's just wrong or she's lying. You can pick, jurors. I don't know. She comes back. Combs is in the street. No violence. Okay. It looks like she was hit twice. Doesn't look like he hauled off, nor that he dragged her. You know what this is? She is documenting her injuries. Let's talk about Anton. She sees him in Vegas with you know who, a rapper of some prominence. No, we don't know. I want to know. Somebody gonna tell us when it's over who it is? She is watching Anton have sex. She asks, what did you do? She says, I showed my breast. Why? It sounds like spring break. It sounds like y'all at Freaknik. What you mean you showing your what? Then the rapper goes up to her with the question about the swingers lifestyle. And she gives them Cabral's phone number. Agnifilo goes on to say, the story does not make sense. Let's say something else happened in Vegas, and then it's the same Anton who comes to her house. Coincidence? The one who shows up at her house is Anton. What she says makes no sense. Anton is a porn star. He has XCX. So they're basically saying, yeah, the Vegas thing is a lie. We almost think that she went there because she was about to be involved in her own little freak off. That's what it's giving. But it's up to the juror. His job is to give different ways of looking at facts. So like I told you, the government is placing facts to say every element has been satisfied. But if he can convince the jury to say, no, it has not, because there's doubt as to whether any of the testimony is even real about this Vegas situation. Any of the testimony is real as it comes to this. Sound like she lying to me. Does sound like she lying to you? Because even with the grape situation, apparently Agnifilo did show that the FaceTime of the date that she's saying she was great is the same day that her now husband FaceTimed her. And I had already kind of picked that up without even knowing the dates. I was like, it sounds like to me she was coming up with a reasoning why she slept with him. And so she told her man he took it from her. And he was in that trial, in that courtroom. So that's what I was giving when she was saying something about it, her actually being great. So apparently Agnifilo did show the timestamp that it was the same day. No, I'm not at my dad's house, but I do have a little kid in here, and I'm upstairs. I'm not downstairs where she's not. Carly said it's hilarious how biased the reporting is. Those against Diddy didn't like the defense closing. Those for him believe Agnifilo helped Diddy a lot. Yeah, I agree. That's why I said I don't really know what's happening, Carly. I don't know. I'm reading it the way I'm reading it. I'm not that impressed, but I'm a little bit better now in the afternoon. I think he's hitting the proper points. So it just would be interesting to see the presentation. So apparently he's connecting to the jury. So what I think doesn't matter, like I said. Don't matter what I say. Shantae said a lot of them threw in these random grapes on the stand that they never shared before. It's so weird. Yeah, it's very interesting. You had Mia say that happened to her, but apparently, I guess he admitted that it happened. It just was consensual. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Mimi said basically, if he hadn't used BB Combs global employees and credit cards, he wouldn't be on trial. Hire separate assistants and pay from personal accounts, Mr. Mogul. Well, the problem, Mimi, with personal assistants is they're supposed to follow you all through your day. Part of your day is you need an assistant at work. While you're at work, they go get your lunch. While you're at work, they may go get lunch for your wife. While you're at work, they may go and run errands while you're even at work. So they do things, and it's kind of a crossover hybrid when you're a personal assistant. They literally are supposed to shadow you and be with you wherever you are. So oftentimes when you are CEOs, they will pay for you to have a personal assistant as well as an executive assistant that's more business-like. So his personal assistants, a lot of them, they worked at the home. So I agree with you. The problem is, like, do you personally just get an employee and say, I'm paying you, I guess, out of my pocket? It sounds like what you're saying. Or do you come with a separate entity? But that's not going to work either. Because if you create a business specifically for your personal assistant, so they don't try to say this is a part of Bad Boys or anything, then they can still say that entity was created just for you to commit a crime, which is a Rico. So how do you really avoid that? Aside from you just start paying people out your pocket, even though it's a job, and they need to be on payroll. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a payroll job. You got to pay taxes. Those people got to pay. You make $100,000, you got to pay taxes on that. So your best bet is to have taxes taken off from your accountant. So I don't know how they're gonna. This is why I said it gets messy and it's a slippery slope how they're doing this. All I see is a whole clique of friends that all said, "Let's break this ninja and get a bag." It's Mimi said, "Yeah. However, when you are tasked with picking up narcotics, it becomes illegal." But that's what he did. He's not going to go get his own drugs. Like Agnifilo said, like, what you think? He's about to go in and say, somebody over there on Sunset Boulevard, they got the goods. No, they're going to send somebody else to go get it. I'm not, whether Diddy gets it or whether his assistant gets it, it's all committing a crime. But because you're not supposed to get illegal street drugs. But what I'm saying is that those people will have to say, if this is a part of the job, I don't want no parts of it. But this is a part of his personal life. He's not a drug addict for Bad Boy. This is his personal proclivities. So it's just a catch-22. But I get what you're saying. Selling drugs is a crime. So if you get anybody to commit a crime, you can say your employee was used, I guess, for an enterprise purpose. But when does this end? When does this end? On what's a Rico and what's not a Rico? That is the issue with this case. Oh, they inflated the heck out of that. I thought they were going to tell us about how he was over there with Al Capone or something. I mean, El Chapo. I'm like, what is he doing? He just happened to get some drugs that were left behind in a hotel room, put it in his bag, and forgot it was in there and got caught up in the game. He didn't even know what was in there and got caught up in the game. And he was a college student and basketball player and all of that. Teen Spice said, bottom line, if Diddy wanted to do all this and get away with it, he should have ran for POTUS. Is that your solution, Teen Spice? Is that your solution? Tomorrow's Leader Sports Network said, you really think Puff gonna be out here? They're like, hey, I'm Puff Daddy. I need an ounce of weed. Right. He's not doing that. All of their assistants get the stuff for him. So everything. He don't even go get his own French fry. And I think that's what, at the government was saying that. Like, this is a guy that don't even get his own soup. Exactly. So why would you think he about to go out there and get his own drugs then, Madam Prosecutor? Mo Better said, in my opinion, they can almost put a Rico charge on anyone. It almost seems like there's something under some statute that almost everybody done jacked up or something and didn't even know you was jacking up. I don't know. Mimi said, I hope he set aside some millions to buy that Trump pardon. Okay, y'all, we'll see. All right. So then Agnifilo goes on, Jay knows there's an investigation. Did she instigate this? He talking about the fight. Now, I agree with that. It sounded like she was doing this fight on purpose. Her story makes no sense. Why was she so persistently violent? She says, I didn't want to do it, but she let Anton in. I submit they were trying to get past it. Oral X only. Then Agnifilo says, at the end of the day, her story has so many holes in it. They got so many holes in it. I would have been like, so many holes in it. You could say she prompted it. She maybe wants something in her pocket. I'm going to have something. Maybe I'll never use it. Why the unprovoked extreme violence? She doesn't explain it. I agree with you, Agnifilo, on that. So then Agnifilo says, you guys are here because you have lived full lives. You were chosen. And they chose only two of the escorts, the Punisher and Daniel Phillip. They could have given others immunity. Neither of the two admit being a prostitute. They're witnesses. And that's true. A lot of the people they talked about, Cabral, the main ones for Jane, didn't even come in to talk. No, they didn't even come in. And the Punisher is going around saying he don't even understand why the government used him, because he was like, I don't think I helped him. Did they? Sean G said they talked about backdoor with. How did they? I didn't know that came up in the trial, but hey, minding my business. Danny said, I missed the last week and have so much to catch up on. The defense coming strong. Does anyone think he will walk? What I've seen in the beginning, it seemed like embellished nonsense. Danny got a lot of questions. We're over here trying to critique Mike Agnifilo right now. In the first hour, I wasn't really feeling it for real. When I went over, the first 2 hours I went over this morning, I think it could have been rephrased a little different. I don't like minimizing and normalizing some of his behavior, but that's just my opinion. Did he hit some good points? I think he did. And I think in the afternoon, he seems a bit more focused. And I think he is hitting some of the main points. You have to get into, the government was very methodical on making sure they said, these facts right here go with this element. These facts right here go with this element. They need to come in and say, this is how you prove that. Did they, sometimes even a PowerPoint that has trafficking and then has what the prongs are, and then say, is that Cassie really, that did happen to Cassie at that time? Did she really not consent to this? Was this not whatever? Cross it out. They haven't proved it. There's reasonable doubt. Go to the next one. Go through that. Cross it out. They have not proved it. It's reasonable doubt. All you need is to show one element that has not been proved in the entire statute for that charge, and it's reasonable doubt. So you can visualize it to show them what the reasonable doubt is, so you just put it in there. The government, from my understanding, she was just at the lectern and she just was reading what she had. Some people thought maybe she ain't even write it, but she probably wrote it. But she was reading what she had and she wanted to make sure she didn't forget. They do have the burden of proof. You don't want to, I guess, go willy-nilly and you don't actually make sure that you have proved every single element that you have to prove for that charge. So D-Dub said, hear from the work bushes. Well, welcome. Kim West said, once you give the employee drugs, that's distribution. Okay. All right. Officer Kim West. Mo Better said he definitely needs to start breaking down the elements. Swerve for always said, I believe the Punisher is supposed to be suing because he didn't agree to be recorded. That's because of him being recorded. It's causing him problems in his life. The Punisher need to sit down somewhere because I done seen him on about 5 different interviews. So if you don't want your name out there, you definitely not about to, you will go away in the sunset after this trial and they seen your face if you didn't come around and do interviews. He's done several interviews. So I don't know what exactly he's suing for, but hey, you sue, you sue, you sue. I mean, we all sue. This is a litigious community that we have here. You suing because now people know who you are. You was capitalizing off of it too. Cut it out. Amani said, I believe these cases should not be made public until the trial. The embellishments are still internet fodder, which can be used to persuade jurors. I agree. I think a lot of the internet is why people came in with their preconceived biases. So that's why it took a few days to get that jury together and make sure they didn't have those biases. So let's go on and see what else Agnifilo has to say. If you get paid when you didn't have X, you are getting paid for your time. In Sean Combs' mind, this is legal. We don't care what's in Sean Combs' mind. We only care about what the law says. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So I wouldn't even say that line. It would be different if a witness said, I went and had X and there were a negotiation for it with Sean Combs. I assume in every porn movie, the actors get paid to have X, and yet it's legal. So he thinks it's legal. Why do we care about what he thinks? Is there let me see something. Maybe there's a mens rea element of intent. Well, I got the prostitution thing up. Now I got the Rico. I think I've tried to explain Rico so much. That's what I have on. What was his? Hold on. Let me find this prostitution. Hold on. You guys bear with me. Bear with me. People v. Let's see. Let me look up something right quick. Pull up this handy dandy indictment. Let's see. That can't be it. Oh, the Mann Act. I don't want to pull up the whole Mann Act. Mann Act. Transportation. Sean Combs didn't think. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know it was considered against the law. No, that's not an excuse. So I'm sure he has a reason why he said that. So let me go down to count 5. Engaging from at least in or around 2021 up and including in or about 2024 in the Southern District of New York, The defendant knowingly transported individuals. Okay, so maybe the knowingly, that's what they're going for. That's the mens rea part. So he has to knowingly transported individuals in interstate and foreign commerce with intent that that individual engaged in prostitution, and attempted, aided and abetted, and willfully caused the same. Combs transported, aided and abetted, and willfully and caused the transportation of multiple individuals, including but not limited to. So yeah, there's a mens rea part of it. So he had to knowingly. So that's why he. I knew it had to be a reason, because I'm like, why do we care about what he thinks? Okay. So he said, if you get paid when you didn't have X, you are getting paid for your time. In Sean Combs' mind, this is legal. It would be different if a witness said, I went and had X and there was a negotiation for it with Sean. I assume in every porn movie, the actors get paid to have X, and yet it's legal. So he thinks it is legal. Who don't know what prostitution is? So he didn't think it was prostitution, I guess. I guess that's what we picking up right here. Thank you, Kamisha, for being a member. I appreciate it. Salato said, hi again, Pam. Thanks so much for the gifted memberships while I stepped away, sliding the bar back. Thank you so much. Yeah, some intent, some knowingly. So I'm sure the knowingly is probably going to be in the jury instructions to actually describe what knowingly means, because they're trying to say he ain't know. It's a good point, though. That's from Kiana Carver. Is she mind reader? Can she just say what he did? Okay, y'all talking to each other. Diddy should have just started an adult entertainment production company. He would have been covered then. I think we've all pretty much come to that conclusion. Perhaps you should have gotten to that industry, Diddy. Then you could have looked at everybody, since you were a watcher. You could have been off in the corner looking at everybody get it done, and they wouldn't even look at you like it wasn't normal. You just got here and just heard shenanigans. Destiny here? Oh no. Shantae said, and there was no set rate. He gave them all different amounts. He did. It's like, and I don't even think they was charging them, because remember, the first person who testified said they were gonna charge less than $1,000, and they were there for dance. And they said, well, Cassie said, if you like it, or they said, well, we just want you to come and dance. It's my partner, and we like to have, whatever. So if I get it on with you and you like it, then we can get down. And so he was going to get paid, I guess, for dancing. And then instead of getting paid just for dancing, he ended up having, relations with her, and they paid him thousands of dollars. So some of these people came from companies as well. And the companies say that they don't basically rent out, I guess is the best way to say it, or lease out the men for actual favors. They know that's against the law. They rent them out for companionship and for their time. And what they choose to do after that is on them. That's not on the company. So that's kind of how they get around that whole, are you actually sending people out to have these type of escapades? And they're like, no, we send them out to just dance or to strip. And shoot, they decided they liked them that much and they got down. That's not on us. That's on them. So yeah. Foster, what crime? Escorting is not a crime. Yeah, that's what the argument is. Escort gets paid for their time. Whatever else happens is a choice between the dots. That's exactly how it goes. And that's kind of probably more of a loophole, to say, I ain't pay you for X. And that's their argument. They did not pay. They did not pay to have X at all. And then they also have attempted. So that's what the government will probably say when they say they never did anything. They also have like attempted as being a part of the statute as well. Ebby said, then why the secrecy? Well, it's not really a secrecy because the Cowboys and Angels, is it Cowboys and Angels that had a show? I think they had a show. So yeah, it's not always secret. TLC is necessary, said in some instance you have to pay for corn, and that's legal. So if you want to see it live and pay for it, it's illegal. That's what peep shows are. Peep shows been around for a while. There are a lot of people that I even know that have been to certain places and they just watch. Like people are having with the swingers. You don't necessarily, you get invited in, and apparently people are getting it in all over the place, and you can sit back and watch, or you can choose to try to participate. And you get some people that don't want to participate, they just want to sit there and watch. And some of the watching is just like you're, like some of you are saying, it's almost like watching a video, but you got it live in front of you. She said it was a show on Showtime. Sweet Scope said Diddy better pray there's no Biggie fans in the jury. In my opinion, he's going down for Cassie. That's some sweet skate. Cowboys for Angels is the name of it. Thank you so much for correcting me. Amani said he could have started a Bad Boys OnlyFans group, but if he did and all of the other stuff remained, it would definitely be a Rico. It's a secret because why do you want all your ex life and personal choices out in the open for all to see? That's from Nick. Okay. Trish said Kim West, the Punisher, testified that he didn't have X the first 2 times and got paid both times. So he got paid for his time, like you're saying, Trish. Charmaine Stewart said, what's strange to me is that the prosecution team never had either one of these women say that Puffy knew that they were doing, but what they were doing was illegal. Positively, DD said these are Voyagers. I'm got in the middle of your conversation. I apologize. Price Forever said Diddy didn't want people in his business, essentially. Right. He didn't want it to get out. He didn't want people to know because sometimes, like a Dr. Dre, Bill Cosby always was kind of like the straight net family guy. But some people, they want to go from rapping, even LL Cool J, to more wholesome. Not to say rap ain't wholesome, but you guys get what I'm saying. The gangster rap back in my time wasn't really that gangster. But they want to go from that to some wholesome stuff. So I think Diddy wanted to maintain an image as well. He had a school. He donated, I think, one of the days where, when Bongolo was Bongolian was saying that he hung her over a balcony. He was doing something with the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, helping the kids is always a good look. So if you have this type of publicity and they know how you are, people are going to judge you, just like people are doing in this case. So yeah, I could see, and it ain't nobody's business what people are doing in their bedroom. What that got to do with you, unless you participate. Southern Belle Charm say he blasted out. Now we know a whole lot of his business. We probably don't know all of it, but we know a lot. Thank you so much. Let's keep it real for becoming a member. Well, people were saying things about Diddy. We've heard about rumors about him and men and all of that. So I want to correct that. That did not come out in the trial. And in fact, Cassie was asked about it and said, no, he did not mess with men. So, and Jane was the one to try to be like, well, when I Googled it, they said that sometimes the reason why men want to see it is because they're bi-curious. So that was the closest that we got about the men situation. Okay. Okay, so Kim, I'm gonna need you to relax. Don't do the all caps when you're talking to people, and you got to be a bit more respectful. You can have an opinion. We know you have a strong one, clearly. whether it's supported or not. But just be respectful. That's all, sis. That's all. There was a meeting in Puff's bedroom, so ladies, y'all better not be late. You was apparently the whatever they called it, Danny, cuck off, whatever it's called. Okay, I'm just learning a lot of new terminology since this case. That's what they do. They play in finishing, allegedly. That's not uncommon. You just may not have heard of it, and I have not heard of it. I don't care what that word right there, the cut code, that. I don't care what that man chooses to do in his house. You know what I'm saying? As long as you ain't hurting other people, I don't care. Okay, so let's get back to Agnifilo. Only Sean Combs is charged here. That is true. No one testified. I was a part of a racketeering enterprise. This is the greatest divide between the evidence in this trial and what the prosecutors are saying. There is a gaping lack of evidence. They didn't charge racketeering. They charged racketeering conspiracy. Didn't I tell y'all that? So y'all better stop listening to all these people out here. I'm like, this is not the regular Rico. This is racketeering conspiracy. I done said it about 20 times and people were still going on. Rico has been satisfied. I'm like, y'all do know it's racketeering conspiracy and there are two different ones. And that's why I went over what the differences were. But anyway. They need a co-conspirator, and they just don't have one. They claim KK. The evidence at this trial shows KK is a helpful person. Kerry Morgan called KK and D-Rock. They are not co-conspirators. If John Gotti were kicking in your door, would you call Sammy the Bull Gravano? That is a very interesting analogy. Y'all get what he's saying? Y'all picking up what he putting down right now? He's saying, just like with Cassie, she would call D-Rock when she had a problem. How are you? And D-Rock would try to help her with her problem with Diddy. So why would you call, if they co-conspirators, meaning they all have the same agreement to have all this type of criminal activity, they agreed to this specific predicate act that was done, why would you call the person that is in cahoots with you? Do you think Sammy the Bull, he done went back to the mob. He said, do you think John Gotti, if John Gotti were kicking in your door, would you call Sammy the Bull, who was basically right up under him? Is that who you would call? Do that make sense? This is a very interesting analogy. JoJo said, great analogy. That was an interesting one. Olga said, this is why they are paid the big bucks. I mean, you had to stop on that one and be like, okay, I see where you're going with that. Really, Southern Belle, you make me mad. No, they're not even going to get the check case till Monday, so it can't be reached this weekend. No verdict this weekend because they won't even have the case till Monday. Now they have the 4th of July on Friday, and I believe the court is closed on Thursday. And if they don't reach a verdict by Wednesday, the judge is not going to say after 3 days, it's a hung jury. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to make them probably come back the next week if they don't come up with anything. Trish said, that makes sense. That did, didn't it? Mo Better said a hell of a note. That was interesting. Judon said, Cassie said when she left Diddy one time, she went to D-Rock's house to feel safe. Right. Why would you go to his and he part of this whole criminal enterprise? I'm not going to him. But the government, no, I ain't gonna say that. No. Because I kept wondering that. I was like, if you know he worked for him and y'all trying to say it's an enterprise, why would you even go to him? How is he going to help you when he cool with everything that Diddy had? Because they got an agreement. So they agree to treat you like whatever is happening to you. So anyway, there is only one trial. KK is not a co-conspirator. KK is a very nice person. I don't know if I would have said that. There is no evidence that anyone is a co-conspirator. The firearms are not charged. Homeland Security cannot say where the guns were. The Suge Knight story, it's not charged. Don Richard, remember her? Westmoreland did the cross? Not charged. Yesterday, the government said in the videos, you don't see guns. But he probably shouldn't keep videos with guns in them. Is that fair? That's a little sinister. Why are they doing that? And it was Cassie who asked to be urinated on. I'm assuming something is between there because they just went from the guns in the house and talking about Cassie being peed on. So I'm assuming there was some stuff in between that we missed. So you guys know, if you have been following this, Cassie testified that she was actually urinated on and they urinated in her mouth. It's a very nasty moment when we heard it. And apparently Cassie is the one that wanted it. And so that's what he's saying. That wasn't Diddy. That was what she wanted. He was like, okay, you want me to pee on you? That's what's up. That's what I said, Trish. I said, this ain't nothing organized about this. This is some disorganized crime. There is no organization. It's all over the place. Diddy just does things for the moment with how he feels. I don't think he has emotional intelligence or control, or had it at that time. He may be a totally different person now. I don't want to hold him to what was. But at the time frames and with some of these facts that we have been given, he has some issues. And I just believe that he just was impulsive on how he did things. And he was very jealous. He was in a relationship with Cassie. He knew what he was doing with other women, and he just couldn't imagine her doing that with other men. He was very controlling, and when he couldn't get his way and didn't know what was going on, he had a temper. That's where Puffy came from. It came from him puffing up. So apparently he always had these little temper tantrums. Even probably when he was a kid, he was the person like, remember the Eddie Murphy, the whole ice cream truck, if you old enough? And he was like, I got some ice cream and you can't have none. You can't afford it. Your mama on welfare. Then he dropped the ice cream and all the kids was like, ha, you dropped your ice cream. Ha ha. And they was just laughing at him. And he'd be like, and just like go off. Like he just seems like that person. On one of the documentaries, there was a guy who lived with him who said that he used to get his bike stolen on a regular basis when he was younger. So I think he just had tantrums and he used to just be lashing out on people, and he needed some anger management a long time ago. So when he didn't get his way, he used to get violent because he didn't know how to use his words. That's what I think. I'm nobody's psychologist. I just have lived a very, very long time and seen a lot. But that's what I think was going on with him. Nothing was organized about this. This is all over the place. He's in relationship. The relationships suck. And everything is connected to relationships. Kid Cudi connected to Cassie. What is alleged with Kid Cudi. Mia is alleging she was great. Little suspect there. Jane, everything about her relationship with Diddy. So there's very few, even the predicate acts that they are alleging, is very few that's not connected to Diddy. The bribery, they're trying to allege a bribery because I guess after Hold on. You said I don't care if it was cuckoo or cockeyed. They need to mind their business. What? Oh my God. So apparently after, let me get my thought out because I'm reading and I'm doing too much. After the lawsuit with Cassie, of course, Diddy wanted to find out who all know what and whatever. And so they started contacting people, and that's what D-Rock was. So they were alleging it was bribery. However, basically the defense argued, how is it bribery or tampering with witnesses when Diddy had no clue that he was under investigation? So when he was reaching out to people, it was right after the Cassie lawsuit. So he was more concerned about the civil lawsuits, which allows you to reach out to people or potential witnesses to see what's going on, as opposed to he wasn't under federal investigation. So when the government says bribery and tampering with witnesses, they're referring to when he was reaching out to people after the Cassie lawsuit. So basically, Agnifilo said earlier in his closing that it's not bribery because the federal government wasn't allowed. There was no law enforcement, and he wasn't even under investigation that he knew of. If he was under investigation, he didn't know. He just knew that Cassie was trying to sue the socks off of him. That's what he knew. Trish said the bribery charge is going nowhere. It didn't involve an official. Dude was a security guard, not a police officer. Amani said childhood trauma breeds narcissism and a lack of emotional intelligence. I'm currently studying psychology. Shout out to you. Finally, Agnifilo is stating some facts. JoJo said SDNY was trying to Me Too Diddy like they did Weinstein. Yes. Whose lawsuit came first, Cassie or Little Rod? Cassie. See, Cassie came out with her lawsuit, I think. And then, let me see. Let me look up Little Rod's. I think I might have it. But I think he amended it, so I might not have a recent one. But a bunch of lawsuits would say in the beginning, they would name the Cassie lawsuit and say, hey, Cassie is the one that gave me the courage to even file. So a lot of these lawsuits were the residual of the Cassie lawsuit. Let me see. Let me double check. See if I even have it. Because I'm not going to lie. A lot of these lawsuits I just started leaving alone. I was like, I don't even. Because that lawsuit went through sanctions and everything else. It was trying to get on Blackburn. Combs motion to dismiss. Let me see. Maybe his was, but no. This was 2024. Let me see. 2025. So I have a complaint it was amended, but I think this was the original one. I don't think I even downloaded the other one because this one was 105 pages long. Standard Combs NDA. March 21st, 2024. Hold on. March 25th, 2024. Oh gosh. Yeah, March 25th. So yeah, it was a few months after Cassie's lawsuit. Lil Rod was after Cassie's. Yes, all opinions are welcome. Just, be respectful. Hold up. Okay. So let's see what else Agnifilo has to say. So we know Cassie requested to get the golden showers. So then Agnifilo says, at some point you can ask, can I even trust the prosecutor? It takes a lot of courage to acquit. I think that the evidence shows, and you can conclude, that the government targeted Sean Combs. I wouldn't say that if Cassie went to Homeland Security. America is great. He must be wrapping this up because he's talking about America and stuff. America is great because between each citizen and the government, there is a jury. This is your house. I am asking you to summon that courage to do the right thing and acquit Sean Combs on all counts. He is not a racketeer. He is innocent. Let him go home to his family. Thank you. So then Comey says she needs a little break so she can digest all of this stuff. So she's going to come back with the rebuttal. So the jury leaves out. And here go the government. They mad about something he didn't say it again. He said he brought up conduct that hasn't been charged and said Mr. Combs was being targeted. We request a curative instruction. The judge said, Mr. Agnifilo, you should have phrased it differently, but you went on to focus on lack of a conspiracy. So I don't know if the judge is going to give him that one, but the government, the way they want these curative instructions, they must think he's having a bit of impact. So they're going to come back, and when they come back, it's going to be time for the government to do their rebuttal. Yeah, Shantae said Cassie came first to be the deadline for the new law that was changing. So what happened is, for those of you that don't know, there was a statute that was created. It's called Adult Survivors Act. That was for those that were actually assaulted, abused, and they gave you, I think it was a 2-year look back window of which you can file. The purpose that it was actually created was because, and the majority of the cases that filed under this statute were women in prison. I think it was Rikers Island that had been raped by guards. And because either the embarrassment, the shame, fear, whatever reasoning, people weren't suing like that. Some of them got pregnant, all type of stuff. They never sued. So it allowed them, I don't know if it was some type of town hall and people were outraged and they heard stories, and the legislature said, listen, we're going to draft this statute, and the purpose of the statute is to give women, or whoever, wouldn't just be women, 2 years in order to go back as far as the 1970s. So this is why you had the Bill Cosby's. This is why you have people saying, why is it so long? I think it's unfair, and I would think it's unconstitutional. The concept I understand. But the problem is, just like what I deal with doing what I do, when you have to go back in history and you don't have cameras, witnesses are dead, like it's very, very hard for you to go back to 1975 and remember where you were at. If you have an alibi witness, if you have, like when the guy on the Supreme Court, when he was doing his congressional hearing, and some lady came forward, and she was very compelling. She said in the summer she was actually assaulted by him. She gave a very compelling story when she gave it, just like Anita Hill did with Clarence Thomas. And when she had done, so anyway, when she had done that, he came out with a book, like talking about he was so organized, and so he kept some calendar from back in the day, and from that calendar he kept up with everything that he had done. But even if that were true, I thought it was like crazy that he still has some calendar from 50 years ago or 40 years ago. But most people don't do that. So the further that the assault allegedly happened, the harder it is for you to prove. You don't have the evidence. Like I said, the evidence is gone. We don't have cameras like we did. Even cameras on stores, when stores had them, they would keep them for a certain amount of days and erase them. So it's very, very hard when you got to go back and recreate and find people and see if there's witnesses. So that's the part of it as an attorney where I felt that was kind of rough. But anyway, the purpose was to give them a chance to sue, which would probably be the Department of Corrections. They can sue the individuals. And so this was not just for them, but it was something to help them. So it was for everybody. And so what Cassie did apparently is she said, I'm going to write a book. And I guess she started writing stuff down when she went to the place in 2023, of which they told her about her ex trafficking and all of that. So all of this was happening in 2023. She went to this place to get some help. That's when she got off drugs. And she ended up going to her attorney, who contacted Diddy about buying the rights to this book for $30 million. Diddy was like, basically kick rocks. So she waited. I don't know. I think there was some more negotiations or something. And she waited until November. Like literally the statute was going to expire in 4 or 5 days or something like that. And then she dropped the bomb. Like it was like November 16th, I think. And she dropped the bomb. So what happened around that time, if you look at my videos, I was looking every day to see who was about to get sued, because a lot of people had lawsuits. We done forgot about a lot of people because of that. But you had Jimmy Iovine. I think his might have got dismissed. Jamie Foxx had one. I talked about that. Eric Adams had one. Russell Simmons, I think, had one with Jane Doe, but that got dismissed because he don't live here. He live in Bali. But yeah, it was a slew of people. But when it came to Diddy, they were just coming back to back to back. They was just every other day, like you, to the point where your whole channel would be Diddy. So if you just talked about all the lawsuits, you would never talk about anything else. So that is the Adult Survivor Act. Now they also have a gender motivated, and it might have been only a year. I can't remember how long, but they also had gender motivated acts. And I'm sure I'm not saying what all of the letters are. Gender motivated violence act, I think it is. And that's what you have people like Busby that did theirs under, because I believe that gave you it gave you some more time than what the other one did. And so at first, if you were within the adult survivor statute, people were doing under that and the gender motivated act. If you missed out on the Adult Survivors Act, everybody was doing it under the gender motivated act. And both of those, and the constitutionality of it, and whether it's retroactive or prospective, is up in the Court of Appeals there. So on the Diddy case, a lot of those civil cases, they're waiting on some opinions to come down as to the whether it can even be used. So I suspect, from a procedural standpoint, a lot of those Diddy cases are going to end up getting dismissed. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, everybody was getting lawsuits. Okay. You said these prosecutors are pushing this judge around. Not Wayne. Well, this judge, I think he's like pretty young. He's like 47, I think. And he's been on the bench for the last couple of years. So you get some people that aren't very happy with some of the things that he's saying and that he's doing. He's learning. From my understanding of people in New York, they said when he came, he would sit back in different courtrooms and watch the different judges, see how they conduct their courtroom. So it's on the job training. I mean, he probably practiced in front of federal court, but practicing and being the actual referee, which is what you are, is different. So yeah, he's still learning. This is his first high profile case, I'm sure. And I think he's doing pretty decent for his first high profile case. But he had another judge before, I think. Didn't Diddy's judge recuse himself or something? So Submarinian was not the original judge on this case. I think the other judge recused himself. Elite Leo said the judge is weak and scared to go against the prosecution, no matter how wrong the prosecution is. Well, that's going to be an appellate issue if he gets found guilty on anything. No, not unless I'm older Southern Belle. I've had opportunities to be a judge. Unless I am done doing what I think I'm supposed to do. I think I am more beneficial just being an attorney that does what I do. That's it at this point. Now, later on, when I, get tired of running the prisons and cutting down witnesses and all the stuff that I have to do that can be very exhausting, yeah, maybe I'll think about it because they got great benefits. But no, that was never my desire. When I was in law school, it was people that's all they wanted to do. They wanted to get their 5 years in. They were going to run for judge. That was just, we knew who those people are. A couple of people I went to school with are on the bench. My best friend is running. She's running for judge, who I went to law school with. And they've always wanted to do it. That's nothing that I've always wanted to do. But we'll see, I'll go where I'm supposed to go at the time I'm supposed to go there. Hello, LT. Good to see you. All right, let's see if they done came back with anything. Because the government. So then the judge says they must still be talking. So the judge says, what about the targeting charge? How is that not improper? Agnifilo says, no one went to law enforcement and complained. It's fair. It's a fair comment. The government said, he said what he said, targeted. It's improper. A curative instruction is required. Then there was silence. So then the government said, they made the argument pre-trial and they lost. This was inappropriate. The judge said, I intend to add something to the charge. They should focus on whether the government proved each charge beyond a reasonable doubt. The government said, we like it now. So what the government seems like they're trying to do is, because I think now I believe people in there that the jury is looking like they like Agnifilo. So they want all of his mess ups and hiccups and jackups. They want it now. They want them to be instructed so that the jury knows that he might have told you some of this stuff, but some of this stuff he shouldn't have said, and he's not doing things right, like almost to make him look bad. That's why you had Garagos get up and say, if you're gonna do it, don't do it right now, because of how it's gonna make, how it may be perceived by the juror. So they're like, we want it now. So the judge said, there's a bedrock law that these arguments to the jury are improper, so I'll give the instruction. Agnifilo said, we'd like it Monday. The judge said, I'll do it when the jury comes back. So basically now the judge is about to give a whole nother instruction again. Man, the government is like, they nervous. I think they're nervous, y'all. I don't know. I think that they are a bit nervous. And I think it's more so maybe they are connecting to him. And they did kind of bore the jury yesterday, is what it seems like. That's what it's giving. It's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. Wayne said, of course the judge sided with them. Hold on. In other Whitehead news, real quick, for all of my Whitehead people, you guys know who Bishop Lamar Whitehead is. I did a video on him yesterday. For those of you that don't know who he is, let me introduce you.
You's a clown. That's what you. Why don't you call me a cardboard bishop now? You tough? Call me a cardboard bishop now.
He's not gonna call you that.
Huh? Look on Facebook Live. Call me a cardboard bishop now. You clown. That's what you are. You clown. That's what you are. Why don't you say what you say on Facebook Live, sucker?
No.
And so, for those of you that have followed me on the Bishop Whitehead, I mean, you are day one, because I talked about him when I started the video. But I did a video on him yesterday, and people were asking about his wife, Asia Dorsey's. Well, I am happy to announce that she is now Apostle Asia Dorsey's. She is now an apostle. She was ordained. Her spiritual mother, Aretha Wilson, said, "We are praising God for the apostolic commissioning of my spiritual daughter, Apostle Dorsey's." So she's moving on. She's moving on, guys. She's moving on with her life, even though her man is in federal prison being an apostle to some inmates. All right, let's move on. Child, I don't know if they divorced. I think so. Probably, if I were to guess, but I don't know. So Elite Leo, what happened is, I'll give you some context. In that video, he had a church, and not the last one that he took, but he had a church where he was running out, and apparently he was getting evicted. So he walked up and they said, "You've been served." And he was looking at the paper and he was mad. And that's when he...
You's a clown, that's what you... Why don't you call me a cardboard bishop now? Huh? You tough? Call me a cardboard bishop now.
He's not going to call you that.
Huh? Look on Facebook Live. Call me a cardboard bishop now. You clown. That's what you are. You clown. That's what you are. Why don't you say what you say on Facebook Live, sucker?
No.
Now that's how a man of God handles it when he's being served. Calls you a clown. That's what happened. Sucker. All right, make sure y'all hit the like button, please. Subscribe to the channel. Let's see if they're back. They're on break. Let's see if we got anything going on here. Nope, look like they're still on break. She wanted 15 minutes so she can hit that rebuttal. She's going to Harlem shake that rebuttal over there in the government, I'm sure. And let's see what's happening over here on the internet. Let's see what I'm missing while I'm on here. See if there's anything worth talking about. Yeah, nobody's saying much, so they may not have been breaking. I see Dennis out here. Let's see what he talking about. If anything, look like he just got his live on.
I haven't talked about the case. We're waiting for the okay, so stand by. If you don't want me in the camera, I'll move. You prefer to watch the door instead of me, I'll move. Remember, you asked for that.
It looked like people in his chat, and they like, "Why you standing in front of your own camera? We trying to watch the door." So it looked like Dennis is outside, so we're not getting no information from him. Called me, darling, said I wanted that closing argument to be a whole production. Yeah, I did see that lawsuit. That's another Busby. I don't pull any more of his lawsuits down anymore and pay that money. Is the court done for the day? I'll look over the transcript later probably, but seems Agnifilo did a great job. That's from Anning Lee Kells. No, it's not. His part is over. His part is over. However, the government is going to do their rebuttal. Let's keep it real. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to the membership. All right, we're just waiting to see if they're back from break. Doesn't look like it. Oh, nothing. We have nothing to see here. Hey, Dr. Jonathan, good to see you. Tracy said, I pulled that lawsuit and I want my money back. Tracy, I learned a long time ago. I'm not fooling up with him with them lawsuits. I don't even pull them anymore. I'm not even interested. If you want to be perfectly honest, I'm not even interested in these lawsuits that come against Diddy at this point. Okay. So I think Dennis told me this as well. So basically they have an electronic portal where you can pull up the exhibits. Let's do this real quick. Where you can pull up the exhibits and so Megan Cuniff pulled them up. So these are some of the pictures. If you guys see them, those are part of the exhibits. So they show your boy working out. Look at those legs. You see them? Oh, let me see. Hold on. I went the wrong way. My bad. This is him, under the palm trees. So these were all exhibits, I guess, that they put in. Why is it blurry? Hold on. There we go. A little focus. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Oh, this is him getting his massage. Look like he got a little massage table over there in the studio. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? We got... it's not very good looking right now. I'm trying to get them bags under control. That was another picture. See that? It's him just talking on the phone. I don't know why these pictures matter, but I'm sure they have its place somewhere. He's on the phone. He's over here with that liquor that y'all said got him in trouble in the first place. That De Leon. Oh, this is him on one of his planes, I guess. We got him over here covering his eyes with his hat. I wonder why. Look at that. Nice pretty tree in the background. This is him over here on one of them islands, probably Turks and Caicos, because a lot of conversations about that. Over there eating his bowl of frosted flakes. He looked like a frosted flakes kind of guy. It's him over here on the beach. He ain't even that cute. I'm like, I like you, Diddy. You all right, but some of these is like, see that? See that? Nice blue water, blue skies. Oh, that looks nice. Y'all see that? That looks nice. The little hut with the trees. It's probably where some of this stuff they're saying happened at. The little gaming channel. You said I can't even imagine what that lady was looking at when she had his leg cocked. Thank you for the super chat. You are hilarious. He said eating applesauce. So no, I think he had frosted flakes. Look at him with his sunglasses. He looking cool, looking cute. Look, it looked kind of warm outside and he got on a hoodie and a hat. There you go again. Okay. It's another picture. I think that's it. Mm-hmm. Okay. That was our intermission. Let's see if we got more going on here. I'm like, I just checked my email. How do I have so many? Hold on. All right, let me get on here and see what's going on now. Mm-hmm. Let me pull it up. You all hang in there with me. Thank you so much. Are they back yet? Y'all back yet? Jeez, I gotta go all the way down here. Okay, so this was the break. We're back. So now we got the AUSA coming back up for her last bite at this here apple because they have the last word because it is their burden. It is not Diddy's burden to prove that he is innocent. It is their burden to prove that he is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay. So the judge is giving his instruction where he said, you heard that Mr. Combs was a target. That is not to be considered. That is not your concern. Ms. Comey, she says, the defendant did not take no for an answer. Certainly not from his girlfriends. He beat them. They suggest he didn't pay for sex, that there was no enterprise, and that the witnesses lied. But he flew ex-workers across the country to have sex with Cassie and Jane while he masturbated. It was not for their conversation. It was for X. So he ain't fly all these people all over the world just so they can chit chat. He was, he obviously flew them over for that purpose. That's what the government is saying. Remember Daniel Phillip? He said he got paid for X. When he had performance issues, he stopped getting paid. The Punisher, $500 when no X. Thousands when he had X. I suspect you'll hear that uncalled witnesses were equally available to both sides. So yeah, they know they're going to have to deal with that because I would have actually asked for a jury instruction. I'm sorry. I'd have been like the empty seat. They should have been there. If you said they did everything that they said they did, they should have been there. And the government has a way of making you come. So I guess they're trying to say that these witnesses were not equally available on both sides. So basically the defense could have got them. I wonder if they're going to say they shifting the burden. That they were equal on both sides. I don't know. But anyway, they're arguing that apparently they didn't have access to everybody, I guess is what they're saying. So Elite Leo said, Comey, then why didn't you charge any of the escorts or the agency? Why are they free to still escort? I will vote not guilty just based off of only one party being charged. That's from Elite Leo. See Through You said the prosecutors are being disingenuous by saying the defense could have called these witnesses. Do the defense have subpoena power? Yes, actually. We do. Once you're in a case and in a form of litigation, you do have subpoena powers. But before the case starts, they're the ones that can subpoena people to go before the grand jury and all of that. Tori in New York City said, Pam, he probably doesn't even remember those places because it was so strong. He was so strung out on drugs. And you might be right. Robert said, no wonder the jury is bored with the government. You said, good morning, make him look handsome. That's what makes him look handsome. You mean money? Good morning. I don't know. Southern Belle said, what y'all talking about Diddy Bop and a Smex symbol? You said probably is Frosted Flakes in that bowl. Remember, he said him and Usher fought over the Frosted Flakes. Did he? Yeah, I haven't. I know someone asked about another trafficking case. I do remember that case that you're talking about, but none of that stuff gets that type of media attention as like the Diddy. They came out with stuff every other day about Diddy, his life, other people that came forward. People capitalize. One of the difference too, I'm not going to just blame the government. I'm going to say that the people that worked for Diddy or had some type of relationship with Diddy in some way, they were coming out doing interview after interview. And it was like, me too, I did too. They were going on CNN. Everybody wanted to tell their stories, the writers, the producers. Everybody wanted to tell their story when the whole Cassie thing came out. And then everybody was filing lawsuits. So that's what kept it in the media. When it comes to like the Abercrombie and Finch, we know that there's actually a civil lawsuit that they were trying to turn into a class action. I'm not sure if it did or not. I haven't double checked. But that was going through the whole civil litigation, and then he was indicted. He got out on bond and he in his house chilling, okay, with all his money. And there's not people that are coming out trying to do interview after interview after interview for Abercrombie and Fitch. So that's also a difference as well. The alleged victims are not coming out trying to talk as much as the people are trying to do for Diddy. And it may be that the media ain't even reaching out to them either. Terry said the government says no money has to be made to prove their case, but will then use a guilty verdict to seize assets. I don't know how that will work because we do know that he had joint ventures and they're saying Bad Boys is the enterprise. And so if that's what they're trying to say for the Rico, that's kind of jack. If they can literally try to take record deals as a juror, that would give me pause because you can take publishing and you can take clothing and you can take his Ciroc or DeLeon. You can take this stuff from him and you know he legit got it. All because when he was in relationships, he was reckless and pretty much dumb. And he had assistants that helped him with work and with his personal life. And because of that, now it's all a criminal enterprise. It's just hard for me to put it together and wrap my mind around it. And we all know that wasn't the purpose of the Rico. It's just consistently being expanded to encompass more actions and behaviors. And that is always dangerous for anybody, and everybody should be concerned. Who was found not guilty? I don't know who you're talking about, Southern Belle. Shantae said the old man from Abercrombie and Fitch is now claiming dementia. C3U said, I'm saying not guilty on Rico racketeering conspiracy based off no evidence showing he ran a criminal enterprise, and not guilty on ex-trafficking because regret and resentment doesn't mean you didn't consent. That's from C3U. Let's see what your prediction is. See what happens with your prediction. Terry said the government says no money. I already read that one. Okay. That's what the government does. That's all it's ever been about. Yeah, because the Rico does allow you, I told you all before, the Rico allows to attach your assets. So they'll take it from you, basically. They can get that good Rico. I don't think they'll feel like it's a win with just the prostitution. All right, let's see if we have anything else. Comey, what else you have to say, sis? Comey said, maybe some of these men would have worked for free. Have X in front of the mass masturbating celebrity, but they got paid. The defendant is guilty of counts 3 and 5. An enterprise can have unlawful and lawful purposes. KK, on-call witnesses are equally available to both sides. Did you agree to at least 2? Yes. Quick hits. The kidnapping is corroborated by Kid Cudi. He said she was forced to go along with them. How does Kid Cudi know if he wasn't there? How can Kid Cudi corroborate something and he was not even there? He can say what she said, which is hearsay. But how can he corroborate that? Because even if she said what he said, they probably used the hearsay exception and said it wasn't for the truth. It was to show his state of mind or something like that while he went home. Whatever exception they came up with. But how does he corroborate something? He only went by what she told him. She could have been lying, just like he said Cassie was playing. Cassie was playing both of them. Kid Cudi said he felt Cassie played him because she was still messing with Diddy the whole time and he thought they were broke up. So how do you know that even when you got the phone calls, you wasn't being played? So I don't know how that's a corroboration, but I guess. See through you says personal assistant, whatever his personal needs. Apparently, no, they saying the enterprise can be lawful and unlawful. So they saying just because some of this stuff may have been on a bad boy card, that means that the whole enterprise can go down. For law, they said a enterprise can have lawful and unlawful purposes. So even though it's been lawful this whole time and you got corrupt, they trying to take all his stuff. That is crazy. They know that probably 99% of it is legit, just business stuff. But the 1% that has any pertinent like attributes of personal makes it unlawful because some of those people committed some crimes. Because the security is there for him all the time. That's a personal thing when he goes places. They drive him around. They go with him when he goes to the studio. He's supposed to have security that's going to be there 24. They stay at his house. The security has a room. It's going to make you start trying to restructure. I hope some of these celebrities are watching this. Taya said, I feel like if they had a jury of lawyers, they'll win. With just us regular Joes, he might walk. That's from Taya. Mo said this entire case is trash. It's interesting. I told y'all before, I see what they're trying to do. I just don't agree with it. That's what I was saying. I see exactly how they're trying to put all the little circles in the little square pegs. Like I see what they're trying to do. I just don't necessarily agree with it. But this is actually how laws are made. If there are statutes that leave room for certain things to exist within that statute and it doesn't conflict with the statute, you have laws that may be created that actually somewhat expands the statute or interprets what certain words mean, because the legal words may not automatically be our ordinary language. And that's what case law does when you appeal it. And so R. Kelly has appealed his case and they are using R. Kelly. Like they've been using R. Kelly a few times in this case. I think with one of the jury instructions, they said they were using R. Kelly. So that's all I'm saying. I don't agree with it. I think when you have a rationale, and I've used history, like statutory history, as precedent to try to dismiss counts, because that's not even what it was built for or what the legislature even argued on. So then you come out and you expand it to include other activities that wasn't the intent. And I don't think that's necessarily fair, but who am I? Sometimes it still works and they just expand it. And then what happened when they indict the next person? They'll use this case and all of the things that were allowed in this case. Like, I don't believe you should have had some voice memos from a Jane. I don't believe that. Why is she able to, after a lawsuit is filed, all of a sudden start saying, I don't like this anymore. He just uses me for sex. I don't want to be trafficked. You get to say stuff like this and write it down and keep memos, and then that gets turned in as your mental impression at the time to try to corroborate. Like, you're using your own words of your setup to corroborate your own testimony. Like, some of this stuff that was allowed in, I just didn't even understand how they were allowing it in. But Shantae said that's how Reaganomics and Rico sent so many people to prison as kingpins and gave them draconian sentences when our government were the actual kingpins. Yeah, they were sending them to prison for like ounces of weed and giving you life. I know somebody who got sent, or know of someone who got sent for synthetic weed, wasn't even real. And they've done about 22 years. So yeah. But this is how it happened. You're right. So that's why I said you cannot like a person, but I wish people could see past themselves and they can be like, listen, get him on what he did. Just get him specifically on what he did. But when you try, Rico is so serious. He's right. It's one of the most serious statutes out here, and it can take everything that you have. They can literally take or attempt to take all of his businesses, homes, everything from him if he's convicted of this Rico with the asset forfeiture. Let's go on and see what the AUSA has to say. Mr. Agnifilo said Mr. Combs is a fist guy. Sure, when it's his girlfriend. Now, he set himself up for that. Didn't I say that? I was like, he said he's not a coward. He'll fight the man, one-on-one. But we don't hear too much about Diddy really fighting people like that. We know he got the assault back in the day, but we really ain't really seen that, happen. We saw, as far as this trial, that he beat up a woman. So that's why I said I would have stayed away from that. He liked to go one-on-one with a guy. He liked man to man. So the government used it against him, as they should. That was an easy little low-hanging fruit right there. They said with men, he needs guns. Why? Because we heard the story of Suge Knight. Now, you're saying he's a man. He want to meet up with people and fight. But then you got Cassie, who basically testified that when he found out that Suge Knight was at a diner, he grabbed his GUNs and his security, and they went to go try to find where Suge Knight was, and they circled around. There was, I think, more than one testimony regarding that alleged incident. So, yeah. So this was an easy little comeback for the government. The London hotel, he made Cassie go after he stomped on her face. She wasn't allowed to go home to her mom. That is kidnapping. The arson, somehow the glove fell of someone's childlike hand. No, he said he would do it, and he did. Cassie said it. Eddie Garcia, he believed he could not go to the police under the agreement. And Combs said, watch how you spend it. That's bribery. You see how I told you how they were going to do it. So they're going to come back with what he says, and they're going to pinpoint to wheel everybody back, to reel them back into them when they put the facts to the law. That's how they're going to do it. This is a guy that can't get his own water bottle or plug in his own phone charger. He's the general. He delegates. Now, he can afford to pay people to do all of that. KK knows the Wild King Nights involved escorts. The only reason why he needs thousands of dollars in hotel rooms is to pay escorts. You said, or hold his umbrella, right? Where are you at, Bentley? We've been looking for you, Mr. Bentley. JoJo said, right, except if the testimony is not believable. Cutie K said, Cassie is incredible in my opinion. They need more real evidence. Southern Belle said, a lady, when did that happen? I never knew. Are you talking about him? hitting a man at kettlebell. I don't know. Oh, he did have an incident with like one of his kids and a coach or something. I remember that. Something happened where he like, I think Wendy Williams reported on it. Yeah, he like assaulted one of the coaches or something like that. But I mean, you don't want to bring that up that he just go around hitting anybody. But you know. If he gets convicted and they take his belongings, can they take his family's home and college funds, even if he put those things in other people's names? Well, honestly, it just depends. So when you look at the forfeiture clause, it typically says to cover those type of things. If they feel like the purpose was to transfer it into someone's name so that you can avoid having it forfeited, they can pierce that and they can take that too. So again, as most attorneys' famous words, it depends. Aaron said Diddy done broke bottles on dudes. Annan said that. I understand that, but Agnifilo, what I was saying is that once he opened the door, because we saw that Cassie, we know that they said he smacked the stylist. I think he said he got smacked. So we know he ain't got no time he ain't got no problem throwing them bows. However, he beats up women apparently, or did at one point. And so because of that, the government's going to use it. It should have been expected. That's all. You said Justin's coaches at USC. Yeah. They most likely will. They don't care about this man's family. That's from Mo Better. JoJo said, but they haven't proven these escapades generated a dime. His wealth isn't from the alleged crimes. They don't have to prove that he generated a dime. Which is crazy, right? Because if you're going to take the stuff that you say was the product of your criminal enterprise, it seems like you would have to have money. So I don't know. That's going to be another argument. Trust. If he got convicted of a Rico, he's not just coming in nice, letting them take his things. He already has an attorney, of which he is hired, from my understanding, who is handling or looking into that entire forfeiture. So you said he broke Drake's arm and the football coach. That's from Rod. I haven't heard that one. What you say? This is the fifth law incident event where 9 people were unalive. Oh, you're talking about before he was like Diddy and he was doing those parties and he had the overcrowded party and he paid people off. He was getting a couple of dollars in because he was trying to pay people off. And one of the people that were unalived because of that party, they were in a documentary and they were saying they didn't get paid a whole lot, but you know. 1999 was the club incident, the executive beatdown. He actually got convicted of that. I think he pled. Justin's coach. And I said he had anger. I said, listen, he looked like he was due for anger management and continuing education classes a few times because they probably made him go when he had the executive situation. If he was on probation, they probably made him go to anger management. But again, like I said before, the courts can order you to do whatever, but if you don't want to do it and you're not doing it because you feel like you need it, it's not going to matter. So let me see. Hold on. I got to check my email real quick so I can make sure I don't miss anything because, you know, I still have obligations here. Hold on. Okay. Let's face it, this man never has faced any judgment and served time. He will get away with this also. That's from a lady 747. And I said, he ain't never break Drake's arm. He said, y'all making that up. I'm just reporting what they saying. Don't come for your girl. I said allegedly. They said he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Yeah, that's what Cassie said on the stand. That mixed up with drugs is not good. And there's different levels to bipolar too. So depends on what you've been diagnosed with. So Comey goes on to say, KK reads all of Combs' text So she knew. KK alone makes Combs guilty of count 1. Whoa. So KK, they saying is his co-conspirator and makes him guilty on count 1. Drugs. Mr. Agnifilo talked about conspiracy to distribute. But giving drugs to Cassie and Jane is distribution. That is enough. Mr. Agnifilo claims they wanted it. See, the thing about that too is sometimes people distributed it to him. So you had Jane and you had Cassie who also brought drugs. We saw those in the text. You had Jane and Cassie sometimes had already taken the drugs before she got there. So if he so happened to have 2 pills of ecstasy and he said, here, girl, take 1, they're saying that's a distribution. That's what they're alleging. So if you got weed and you decide you want to pass, puff, pass, however it goes, that's distribution. That's what the government is saying. The defense theory is that Cassie wanted to be urinated on, that Jane wanted to have sex with Anton after being beaten, and Mia wanted to be penetrated, that Cassie and Jane wanted to spend days in oil with UTIs and high heels, strange men. So what they're trying to paint, which is what I said that they were a long time ago, is that even if they say that they wanted this, who in their right mind would really want this? Who would want to have pee in their mouth? Maybe not you, AUSA, but there are some women that don't mind some of this freaky deaky. Then they say, who wants to have oil and high heels on and they have UTIs? Some people, that's why you got so many spreading of different things, because they can have whatever and they don't mind still having X. But they want you to believe that this is basically be the moral police. And you say, this is not what, the only way is if you're coerced and forced, because nobody in their right mind will want to participate in any of this stuff unless they are coerced or forced. So then the government says, Mia said no. Cassie said no on her 29th birthday. Jane said no before Anton after being beaten. These women had no reason to lie. The defense says it's for money, but Cassie's already got paid. Are escorts legal? I just want to know that. Are escorts legal? Let me ask ChatGPT. In Illinois, escorting is legal as long as there's no agreement or exchange for actual acts. If an escort provides actual services in exchange for payment, it becomes prostitution, which is illegal. Okay, so that was in Illinois. I'm put in the United States. In the United States, prostitution is illegal in almost all states, but escort services where companionship is offered for a fee are not inherently illegal. The legal distinction lies in whether actual acts are involved in the exchange for payment. If actual activity is part of the transaction, it constitutes prostitution, which is illegal. So one offers companionship, and we know one is like X for money. Rod said, and both escorts said we were not paid for X. A lady 747 said this was a sham. He had to do the walk of shame. He'll be home by the 4th of July. Charmaine said, yes, Cassie did already get paid. The prosecution team is the reason why Cassie is there in court. They forced her. I'm going to agree with that. Cassie did not want to get on that stand and say all of the nasty things that she said. She did not want to do it. She did not want to do. I agree with that. She did it because they told her she had to. And part of that probably was, like most of these other people, you were a part of this. Do you want to be a victim or do you want to be co-defendant? So then Comey goes on to say, if Cassie were lying and already got paid, why would she take the chance of perjury in a federal trial? This is a woman standing up for what is right. Mia already settled in mediation. There's no reason for her to put on a show for you. But Mia also wanted to work back with him as well. And he told her no. So, nope, not a single drug dealer charged. No. Nick said it's a choice many people wouldn't make, but they did. Now they feel regret and embarrassed. Yeah. They thought if they did this, then it would have been all good. See, what Diddy should have did was he should have just went on ahead. Well, he knew about Jane and he decided to mess with her anyway. So you get what you get. You get red flags and you decide that you don't want to take them red flags and do anything with them, but raise them higher and add more to them, then that's on you what the consequence is. So. And Vila Norris said, escort Daniel Phillip testified that he indeed was paid for X. Listen, I don't think the prostitution is really an issue in this case. It's the trafficking on force, coercion, and fraud that I think is the bigger issue. I think they're both going to try to apples and oranges on what prostitution is. But I just don't even think it's even worth arguing like that. I mean, you have to say something. You can't just concede it, but just, oh no. I don't know how you get past the fact that you can go. It was escort services. We paid for the companion. But when he couldn't perform, we just gave him $500. But when he could perform, he got $5,000. Like, what are you paying for then? So I think that goes out the window. Mo Better said, why are the feds acting as if they didn't threaten their freedom if they didn't testify? Because they got to get the jury, to believe their side of this here story. For Always Forever says, since this is a federal, can the state pick up the case if the witnesses have immunity? The state can pick up the cases if they want to, but I think they have statute of limitation issues. Which is probably why there weren't any state cases. She said they still got paid for their time. Judon said if anybody transported the guys, it was Cowboys for Angels, not Diddy. Well, he was giving them money like, now that would be interesting. Do you take the money that you get and give it back to Cowboys for Angels? If you get $4,000, do they get a cut? You just keep a percentage? How do they get paid? You call them to try to get them to come, but they're a business. So how do they get paid? Who pays them? They paid the escort. Maybe what if Cowboys for Angels gave the price and then they just gave them the price? And then they gave the money to the escort when they came and the escort was responsible. So I'd be interested to know their exchange, how it works. Because if that's what they charge, no, we charge $5,000 when it's after dark. We charge $3,000 if it's not in the vicinity. We charge $2,000 if it's in the vicinity. We charge $1,000 in the summer and $3,000 in the winter because they don't want to slide on the ice. Like, what if they were like that? And that was they're the ones that said what it costs for the escort. So you really paid that in different prices regardless because they had a little list. And so you had to pay according to what their fee schedule is. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Nick said, crazy. They want to pin this all on Puff and no one else gets charged. People keep yelling head of the snake first, but they have given everyone immunity. They don't care about anyone but taking Puff. And he the one with the enterprise money. Gene Phillips said Revelation, last book and Bible, is playing out in front of our eyes. Now is the time to believe if you already know. You giving the salvation request out right now. So you can't give escorts a tip for their Cutie K. You defense needs you on their side. Because you definitely trying to finagle your way through this prostitution. No, there's no children in this case at all. So what is being said is that so what happened is when you have the ex-trafficking statute, it has children and minors on it. They said children, minors, and then it has or by fraud, coercion, or force. And so people were looking at the children's side and not thoroughly reading that he's being charged under fraud, coercion, or force. So I think that's where the misunderstanding has come from a lot of people. Wendy said guilty on all charges. Southern Belle said Diddy must be a powerful man if the world is coming to an end over a day. That's what they said. They tell repent. They like, for the kingdom of God is at hand. He sounded like John the Baptist in the chat. Okay, so then Comey says, Jane doesn't intend to sue. These women refuse to let trauma swallow up their whole lives. That struggle tells you these women told the truth. They broke free of the defendant's manipulation. Well, Jane was still there when he got arrested. She was there when they, like, what are we saying? She was still there when they got arrested. So you were still with him. I wonder if Agnifilo brought that up. Jealousy is not a defense to ex-trafficking. Jane picking out Cabral and Anton was her way of taking back some control. So she picked who she wanted to sleep with so she could have some control. Yes, she texted Escort. Sometimes he told her. Sometimes she knew he would ask. So they had to explain why she did it on her own, even before he asked. She felt she had no choice. That's coercion. That was weak. Government, that was really, really weak. When I get off of here, I'm taking the best nap ever because this is just a lot going on. This is really just strange to me. It's strange to me. Okay, so somebody said the jurors don't vote. Okay, let me see. This is from, how long ago again? This is from Emily Knows Everything. Let me tell you what she's saying right now. She says, hold on, Emily, let me get you.
Homie, at all. I mean, at all. After Mark finished this heartwarming ending where some people in the courtroom were literally moved to tears, Maureen Comey gets up there and she goes, first of all, she talks like this and she wants people to relate to her. And I'm like, okay, if you're trying to win this case, you need to talk like a normal person and connect with the jurors, because literally she's up there going, now you guys have all seen that everything Mark has said is just one big distraction. And quite frankly, I don't have the time or the energy to address all of it, but I can prove that he is guilty beyond reasonable doubt.
Emily's funny.
The jury literally is like, they're not even looking at, they feel uncomfortable to even look Maureen Comey in the eyes, okay? You can't talk like this, Maureen. And the jury is not connecting with Maureen Comey at all. I mean, at all. After Mark.
And she said there's definitely more than one juror that ain't buying a BS. That was funny. She is funny. And Southern Belle says she's out of breath. Girl, breathe. Yeah, she probably got her pissed off because I told you, I said by the way she kind of came up, I said, yeah, Mark is definitely, I knew by the things she's saying on them. I said he's definitely connecting with them and they care about what he's saying. And so the government is concerned that they're just straight to the point and trying to be methodical and work out with them. These people somehow look like they may have connected with Agnifilo. I was feeling them more in the afternoon. Agnifilo, I was feeling you a little bit more. But in the beginning, I'm like, what are you doing? Okay. Let's see if she says anything else. The defendant did hit Cassie during freakouts. Cassie said it. Daniel Phillip told you. And it's on video. The defendant was in a towel. The freakout was not over. There was no separating the violence and the X. And I don't think they proved that. Isn't that what I said? I was like, I think they're trying to make it seem like she left in the middle of it and she wanted to leave and didn't want and wanted to leave it and he didn't let her. That was not proven in this case. That was not proven. Accordingly, I believe she even said it was over. And then she had a press conference or some type of premiere she had, and she didn't want to look worn out. So she wanted to leave and I guess get hydrated. And so she just got her stuff and she bounced. And that's when Diddy came after her. But the freak-offs were like concluded. Didn't sound like it was anything. So she's trying to say it was the middle of the freak-off. And so she tried to leave in the middle, which would mean Cassie had full clothes on. So what that would mean, she didn't run out in the towel. Cassie didn't run out with one shoe on, one shoe off, grabbing her stuff because she's running away. She came out fully clothed with glasses on, a phone in her hand, and a packed bag. If you are in the middle of a freak off, how are you fully clothed? Madam AUSA, explain that to me. How are you fully clothed in the middle of, if he was trying to stop her while she's putting her clothes on, he would have did something to close that door. It looked like with the towel, he might have gotten a shower or something was going on where he wasn't clothed. But how are you're in the middle of a freak out, but she fully clothed running down the hallway? I'm just asking. Did Agnifilo bring that up? I don't know. I guess we'll see in the transcript. Shantae says she was moving ever so slowly. That didn't seem like she was scared to me. No, she wasn't, because baby, when you trying to get away because you don't want to be involved in a freak off, you grabbing your stuff. Don't act like some of y'all ain't had to get up out of someplace real fast. You grabbing what you can and you take a run for it. You taking the stairs. You're not waiting on the elevator. You're trying to get away and you decide, let me get on the elevator and wait for it to come to the top floor where I'm at. No, you're grabbing what you have with half clothes on, half clothes off, one sock on, one sock on, off, and you running down them emergency stairs. That's what you doing. I don't know. Yolanda said, make it make sense. I'm trying. You said, I believe Mark Garrigo should have never called the prosecution a six-pack of women. I'm sure he's been helping his daughter with this case on the side. I mean, that's the father, so I'm sure he did give tips. Looked like they were fighting. Maybe she come out just putting on lip gloss. She wasn't in a rush. No, she wasn't. She's putting on lip gloss. She probably thought he wasn't even going to come after her. Like, because she was too nonchalant. She was not scared. She did not leave in the middle with no freak out. I'm not believing that. In the middle, before they could even do anything, she just was like, I think I want to go so I can be nice and and rested for my premiere. I just don't think that happened. It's something missing with that whole hotel situation. I don't know. A lady said Cassie was trying to preserve her face anyway. She was drugged high as hell. Okay. Destiny. But she was fully clothed. Why would she be fully clothed in the middle of this? She just said it was the middle of a freak off. I'm just reading what she said. She said, the defendant did hit Cassie during freakouts. Cassie said it. Daniel Phillips told you, and it's on video. The defendant was in a towel. The freak off was not over. They're now separating the violence and the ex. That's what she said. You cannot separate him beating her up from the actual ex. So are you saying he only beat her up when it was around these type of activities? Because I don't think that's what the testimony was giving. It sounded like he was an abuser and he just abused when he didn't get his way. And he may have hit a couple people around him a few times. He may have popped a couple of other people in the lip too. I don't know, prosecution. Okay, so here's another one. Let's listen to Emily again. She got another one. She's so dope.
I am so happy I was able to get into the courtroom because I am telling you, my eyes are on that jury, and Mark Agnifilo is literally pulling the heartstrings of two of the jurors to the point where they are laughing at almost all of his even corniest jokes. They are smiling, nodding along. I told you guys this trial is going to come down to the vibe. Are people going to go with the prosecution? You know, the substitute teachers who lay down the facts, you know, they can suck the life force out of the room just like the government can suck the life force out of your taxes. Or are they going to go with the chill, charismatic defense team? Because right now, Mark is up there defending Diddy without a script. He is freestyling loosey-goosey. And guess what? All the reporters are fighting because half of us like Mark's style and half of us think it's corny as hell. So I'm telling you, this trial is going to be going down to, what does the jury feel? How are they feeling?
So let me be clear why I'm questioning the clothing, V. Lenore. The reason why I'm questioning it, first of all, these are details that we look at when we are attorneys. That's the first thing. She was fully dressed. Comey just said she was in the middle of a freak off. The middle of a freak off can be construed as if you're in the middle of the activities. And because you're in the middle of the activities, you just choose to get up and get out because you don't want to do it. That is not how she testified. She testified that she had a premiere the next day. So when they finished, she was leaving because she wanted to get some rest before the premiere. There's a mischaracterization of what it's looking like in this tweet as compared to what she testified to. So that is why, since you asked the question, why I'm saying something about her clothing. Hope that helps you out. See Through You said Diddy should be able to move on with his life just like Cassie and Jane have done. They all did some freaky things. As a couple, Diddy is not to blame for their adult decisions. And people that because you don't do this doesn't mean other people have done this. Diddy have not done this. Diddy did not make this up. Diddy is not the first person to do freak offs. And Diddy probably won't be the last. So, I can appreciate people that are just pro one side. However, when I make certain comments, my reasoning for my comments, there's a reasoning behind it. Because I've been watching and I have the transcripts for most of this as well. And so that is why. CT Benny said, respectfully, I know women like these women that are not totally innocent. But apparently there are people that never heard of it. So it has to be something else behind it. And that's pretty much what the government is wanting the jury to think, that nobody wants to engage in this type of activity unless it's coercion, fraud, or force. That's what they want. Diddy has made it so much difficult for others. I think that's why a lot of celebrities are quiet, because we know Jane testified that she and another celebrity was there. And one of the people they do freak offs with was a part of it as well. So this is not uncommon for them. It may be uncommon for you and I, but it's not uncommon for other people. R.U. Hoarder said it's freak off happening now. FOs have always been around. Queen Brielle said, believe Pammy Pam over these. I trust your commentary. No, there's just a reasoning. Whatever. I'm past that. Mo Better said Jane didn't even move on. She was with him at the very end. No, she sure was. But apparently she doesn't have a choice, because who would want to do a freak off? Who would want to have sex for 4 days? You do know that's what porn stars do, right? On videos. That's exactly what they do. Rich Auntie said Hugh Hefner allegedly had FOs back in the 70s and 80s. They just didn't have social media. If you look at the documentary, that's pretty much what they were saying as well. A lot of those people were doing stuff for days. Tracy said it's a whole community of people that enjoy FOs. I don't judge them, but I just need the laws to catch up. It has to be consensual. Apparently, maybe these attorneys that they have may have to actually have them sign some documents. I don't know. Then I don't know how they're going to do the money aspect if they got to pay people to come in, because that's prostitution. So I don't know what to tell these people. I don't. But I know there are clubs like this. Like you said, there's whole communities. I've heard it, and I've heard it for days. Like they do this stuff for days, and they take things to allow them to do this for days. Do they like just nonstop? I don't think so. I think they rest. I think they eat a sandwich. I don't know. I'm not in the community, so I don't know. Sully Sue said it's not uncommon. I myself was invited to these parties. They are everywhere for regular people like us. It's like an invite only. Yes, it's invite only. So CT Benny said we calling it freak offs because Diddy threesome, aka swimming. Freak off is their term, just like trifecta. This is nothing new. People have orgies and threesomes. Well, okay, let's see what else Comey got to say. What you got to say, Comey? Remember when Cassie OD'd in a hotel room in Long Island and they still had the freak off? When Jane performed oral on Anton after Combs beat her, that was trafficking. So they're trying to prove the force and coercion. I thought at one point they were trying to say the fraud was because he would say, hey, if you come to New York, we're not going to do free golfs. And then when he gets there, he'll be like, what you feeling like tonight? Would you like a little FO or hotel night or a movie night? And she would say, I kind of just wanted to hang out and go to the movies. He was like, oh, all right, I guess. And then I guess she would see like he was bored with her and really didn't want to be. Then she'll be like, let's do a freak off. or hotel night, I think is what he called it with her. But yeah. You know what, Carla? D-Dub said, you better not be a part of that community. Well, Carla said that. D-Dub said, Pam, don't say, do they eat a sandwich? I'm about to bite into my sandwich. I know this is a very, very nasty conversation for some. Cream BL says, share this live with family and friends with our favorite YouTube lawyer providing us with the time and effort over the case and other cases she covered. Thank you, Queen Brielle. I appreciate that. Shantae said, Pam, they're literally making it up as they go along and hope nobody catches on and keep twisting it up. They're changing like how they're proving it, is what it looks like. Now, all of this was in the trial. I think they're just kind of trying to make the facts, which they're supposed to do as the government, make the facts fit the elements. Thank you, Queen Brielle, for gifting 5 more memberships. I appreciate that. Christine said, agree, he ain't the first. A lady said, just because they frequently do this doesn't mean all elements were legal. May not be. But you have to show force, fraud, and coercion when it comes to ex-trafficking. I told you, I'm not even talking about the prostitution because I don't know how they getting out of that. I don't. Unless the jury is just fed up with all of it, I don't see how he would get out of that. CT Benny said, my ex-wife got me to do freak off by cutting the grass and doing what she wanted me to do. I need to bring her up for racketeering. I can't stand you. A real paralegal said, I wonder, is this gonna to be like OJ effect where they didn't get him the first time, they get him by another means? He got away with the college great, the celebrity basketball game fiasco, and pow pow. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. Shantae said, all they're doing is confusing the jury more. Let them keep it up so that man can freak off in peace. He probably, well, he's been in jail a little minute. Maybe he's been delivered and he doesn't want to do those type of things because he sees it might land him into the defense table. I don't know. Christine said, if it was agreed, then what? They should be charged too, not immunity. Nobody was in the room when this plan was discussed. Cassie even planned the FO by herself. Nobody's at that table but him. So Jean said, these children were used as party favors. They don't live. I'm so confused. Maybe I'm just tired, Jean. So confused. Tomorrow's leader said, Miss Pam, when he gets home, some grown woman is. Let's see what Comey has to say. You guys are really acting up. So Comey says, Mr. Agnifilo and Cassie said Cassie won a prize. What prize? X with the UTI? Getting urinated in her mouth? It's ridiculous. They had a trauma bond. They were trapped. The cost of trapping them was a drop in the bucket for Mr. Number One on the Forbes list. Yeah, she is going off, okay? She is mad. Did he say it was a prize? I know he did try to say they had a modern day romance. I was like, what? If that's it, I don't want it. Nikki said Diddy was the fun parent. We know he didn't raise any F. I don't know what that's supposed to be. You said, Tracy said, oh, they better stay off of OnlyFans. Nick said some people been watching and believing too many conspiracy theories on YouTube. Oh gosh, here we gonna get into the OJ, whether he really did it or didn't. Let him rest in peace. You know, he got one of the biggest cases in history. He had one of the best legal teams you will ever see. You can still go back and look at their videos and learn a lot from that team. Willie J said Diddy has been on a power trip since back in the day. Agreed. He thought he could get away with anything. He forgets that times have changed. Everything is being recorded and NDAs mean nothing now. That's from Willie J. I agree. Terry said, fellas, we got to avoid women who don't want 50-50 relationships. Okay, AK. Look at y'all. Yeah, like he was saying, well, he was acquitted. So under the court of law, you are absolutely correct. Some people just don't believe. They think that he got away with it. So then Comey says he pushed her to continue after she vomited. He knew she didn't want to. See, a lot of this is based on the circumstance. He should have known that she didn't want any of this. She should have known somebody who threw up, even though it could have been from drugs or drinking or whatever. He should have known that once she threw up, she wouldn't want to engage in any of this stuff. Should have known that because she had a UTI a week before, she would not want to engage in this stuff. So this is what she's trying to tell the jury of what his mindset should have been, that he should have known this, like a reckless disregard. Even if you didn't know, you should have. Based on the situation, you should have known. And you had a reckless disregard of the truth. Basically, you ignored it. The Intercontinental, they claim he was intoxicated, that it was about a phone. He knew what he was doing. He kicks her. She calls security. So he stays to keep control of her. Wayne said, ain't nothing going on but the rent. Christine said only one charge will stick, period. I guess we'll see. Jean said, I'd hate to have many of you on a jury. Well, this is your jury of your peers, Jean. Everybody has different thought processes. Diddy didn't care. He wanted to get his. Wayne said, ain't nothing going. I already said that. Judon said all of the blood evidence again. Oh God, we are relitigating OJ. Are we? I'm not. Some of these comments, y'all gonna get me kicked off YouTube. Call me. So here are some of the comments over here while we're here. Somebody said, walking away from a situation like this is even harder than walking away from someone who loves you. It's just complicated. Emily said, exactly. He knew exactly what he was doing. And then somebody just asked, when we'll get the verdict. Somebody said, if it was about a phone, one that got his phone back, why did he stay and not go straight to the room? Because defense argument is nothing but nonsense. That's what they said. So right now they're trying to show that if he didn't know, he should have known by the way it was affecting them. Oh my God, if they don't hurry up, I need a nap. Sherman said, that's not true. There have been many women that have thrown up while performing fellatio, especially when performing it on a so-called black man. Too much deep. This is turning to very X-rated. Trish said, I wonder why the prosecution never called the escort who's in the hotel room at the Intercontinental. That's true. I think it's because they knew they weren't in the middle of the freak off. Yeah, that's true. Why wouldn't you call the person? Because they can say, because Okay, let's just think back and you guys can refresh my recollection as well. When the security guard from the hotel said he came back there, didn't he say it was another person that was there sitting on the bed or something? I think that person might have had clothes on. But that is interesting. Like, unless Cassie says she doesn't remember who it was that was there for the freak off, maybe. Kiana says somebody on the jury is sick of calling me Rapidette. And C3 said too deep and not having an awesome get. Oh God, why am I not reading this stuff first? Y'all are nasty. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Trish said yes, it was a man in the room. Southern Belle said, yep, naive, believing a bunch of lies. Why weren't they on the stand? There was a lot of people that weren't on the stand. It sounds like the government is trying to say they didn't have access to a lot of these witnesses, but you had all of these people you were able to find. Like the Punisher said, he was found. And at first, I guess when he met with them, they was like, do you want to get an attorney? Do you want us to provide you with an attorney? Do you want us to provide you with an attorney? And at first he was like, no, I'm going to get my own attorney. But then when they found out who the case was about, they were like, oh, it's a $20,000 fee. Okay. And he was like, you know what, government, I think I will take I'll go ahead and take your offer. So yeah. Okay. Trying to see if he got more. I hope they about over with because I am tired. So they have, okay, so this is from Philip. So Cassie was actually the one that asked me to urinate on her. They had just come out of the room and she asked me if I had ever done that before. And I said no. And she told me to do it. And apparently I was doing it wrong because they both stopped me and told me that I was supposed to let a little out at a time and not go full, like take a leak on her. So that is part of the transcript regarding the urination. No, the judge has already Chapel Hill. She said, OMG, I just got home from work to find out this case is still going through closing arguments. I guess jury instructions on Monday. So the judge has already made the decision that it didn't make sense to try to do charging instructions today. And so he's going to do charging instructions on Monday, and then the jury will get the case after that, which makes sense because you want the instructions fresh in their minds. Yeah, the judge hasn't made a decision on the Rule 29, I don't think. I don't see anything on the docket from the last 2 days. So a lot of their correspondence, it looks like before they put it on the docket, they have their own behind the scenes emails and stuff. Shantae said they want to believe she was such an innocent, pure woman so bad. I never bought that. Well, he always said, she said that he didn't want to even be with her at first because he thought she was sneaky and was like, you're just too sneaky and I can't trust you. And he would say that a lot. So then on those texts where he was crashing out, the one I read the other day, he was like, I never trusted you. I can't believe you did this to me. Oh, he was crashing. When I tell you the ultimate get back that she had was when she got with that trainer. Oh, he crashed out on them texts. The trainer, give me my $50,000 back. You played me. I paid for you and Carrie 14 more thousand. He started going through his cash apps like, how much I pay this fool? Lamont said he's just whizzing away. Is he crazy and don't know he? Oh, God. Mo Better said she was gaslighting him, knowing damn well she slept with that man. She told him she wasn't sleeping with him. I don't even know what you're talking about. You're crazy. I don't even know what you're talking about, Diddy. Relax. Ain't that problem? She probably was pulling a him on him. Like when he was like about the Gina situation. I told you I wasn't with Gina. Why do you keep bringing her up? I don't mess with Gina. You're crazy. You're just crazy and delusional. And she was pulling a him on him. She was like, what do you mean? I don't care if you see an Instagram post of us straight up tonguing each other. I'm not with him. You're crazy. You're cuckoo. Oh, you want to put that out about me to say like I cheated on you with him? Well, how about I put out these pictures of you and you bust me in my lip and hit me in my eye? Do you want? Oh, I got some information. You want me to put some information out? That's what you want to do? You sure that's what you want to do? TMZ called you. You better tell TMZ that it's all a lie. She was pulling a him on him and he just couldn't take it. Y'all know it's true. Rich Auntie said, I think certain people want to elevate Cassie so much because she fits their image of the perfect victim. Judon said, y'all fell for the Diddy party rumors just like y'all fell. The Aaliyah got a lazy eye rumor, all lies. That sounds like apple and oranges, lazy eye orgies at a party. But, you know, I get what you're saying. Chapel Hill said, I love Pam's reenactment. You said you don't get a ninja back like that. Not Jay-Z. Comey, are you finished? Okay. She says, I want to be clear. They called Anton because he was the only repeat player in LA. They stopped with Cabral after he tried to extort Jane. Whatever words he used about a conspiracy between Jane and Anton, there's no evidence for it. So I guess when he was saying the Vegas situation, y'all shouldn't believe that she really went to Vegas. And just so happened the guy that they do threesomes with was there. When you go there with your homegirl and her man who is a famous rapper. And it just was a coinky dink. Thank you so much, Vintage 1970. I'm glad to hear that. You say, you have gotten me through the rest of my workday. Yay. JoJo said, if either woman was black, we wouldn't be here. You might be right. I don't know. Diddy was too emotional. He didn't know how to slow pay things. I think he didn't have any emotional intelligence at all. Jarvis said, the old folks say how you get him is how you lose him. He got her when she lied to her boyfriend for 3 years and had ex with Diddy. Cassie was something else, cheated multiple times, hit her 20 million. Well, she ain't got to work no more if she don't want to. Terry said it's the fact that he was paying that man. She heard him though. Nina, his soul, he was crashing out. I was reading those texts like, whoa. I could almost see the tear in his eye. Why you do me like that? I'm blocking you. No more love for you. Why you do me like that? And then he was like, then he'd go to sleep and wake up 2 hours later. The trainer? Why you do me like that with the trainer? I want all my money back. I'm not never calling you again. You move on. I just want my money. Who do I call? I'm sending the invoice to your mama. Take 11, 20-minute break. Out of all the people in the world, you playing me like a clown. I ain't no sucker. And she just sitting there like, it's not true. She's probably literally repeating the things he told her when he was gaslighting the hell out of her. Because the way he was crashing out, that's the only explanation. Yeah, he said it. You don't think that's disrespectful? She said, I didn't say that. She was, it's not funny. This is real life stuff. But Diddy got Diddy on him. I mean, it is what it is. Cassie did her thing on that. She did one of her big ones on that one. Then Diddy still got to live with the fact, not only did you pay this ninja $50,000, you paid the friend $14,000 for his trainer, and now for $20 million, you're basically taking care of this family probably for the rest of their lives. My. Then when you beat her up, that video gave her 10 more million. Cassie was like, I'm winning. We ain't about to hear from Cassie for a minute. Y'all gonna see Cassie. She might buy her an island over there in the Bahamas or something, next to Mimi. You said, y'all know it was true. You know he was acting like that. Diddy was crashing out. So then Comey says he coerced Cassie and Jane into this, and nothing happened. He raped Mia, and nothing happened. He beat Cassie, and nothing happened. He beat Cassie in a hotel on tape, then bribed the guards to buy it, and nothing happened. He was untouchable. He did not think these women would speak, and that Kid Cudi and Deontay Nash and other men would back them up. The defendant is not God. Oh, he stands equal before the law. Find him guilty. Oh, she said she went hard at the end. She said he is not God. Find him guilty. Thank you so much, Ramai said. Thank you for being the voice of reason in this case. Thank you. I try to be. You know, I get a little biased and snippy every now and then, but for the most part, yeah. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Let me see if there's anything else on here. So on Monday, the judge says, gives a jurors, you may leave until Monday. So he let them go home after that. And that it concludes closing argument. So what do you all think of the closing argument in its totality? If you've been rocking with me all day, we've watched the first part in the morning, and then this is our afternoon/evening session. Based on tweets, of course, we don't have the entire closing or the rebuttal because we're just getting tweets. So if you could read between the lines and all of that, what do you think? What do you guys think? He has 5 counts. He has Rico. He has trafficking. Well, he has racketeering conspiracy. He has trafficking. He has prostitution, trafficking and prostitution as it pertains to Cassie, and then the same as it pertains to Jane. So there are 5 charges that he is currently fighting right now that is now going to be in the jurors' hands. So I need to know from you guys, what do you think? Paula said will win on appeal. T. Ryle said not guilty. Willie J said he will be found guilty of some, not all. J.D. Jackson said hung jury or not guilty. There's too much doubt in my opinion. Shermone said not guilty. Jarvis said acquittal. Nina said not guilty. Chapel Hill said I'm still with the belief that the government overcharged and overreacted, so not guilty. Chapel Hill came with a whole explanation. Those statute of limitations helped as well with my decision. Okay, let me see. Christine, y'all moving fast. Said Diddy is guilty of something, but yes, he's the only one at the table when it should be many to get one man. I don't care for Diddy, but right is right, wrong is wrong. Even the drug guy got off. Glamour W said not guilty. Crimson Tide said depends on jury. Life experience is not guilty for me. Are y'all saying on all charges? Are we just talking about the racketeering? What are we saying? Maybe I should have been more specific. You said the 4th of July barbecue is going to be lit. Purple said personal relationships, not criminal enterprise. Prostitution, probably guilty. Sully Sue said, don't care for that man, but not guilty. Shantae said, not guilty. Did he need y'all to be jurors? If he want to get out, probably guilty on the Mann Act and sentenced to time served. That's interesting, Trish. Soaring Energy said, watchers have said there are 2 women that are pro Diddy. So maybe it's going to be a hung jury. Wayne said not guilty. Puff home. He ain't coming home on Monday. They don't even get the case till Monday. So that's not gonna happen unless you saying they gonna sit there and in about 25 minutes he going home. I mean, I guess it's possible, Wayne. TLC is necessary, said hung jury. Tyra said too much doubt. Paula said, what do you think, Pam? I think the same thing I did from the beginning. Rico needs to be rewritten or done away with. It's too broad and vague. Miss LaShonda, I agree with you on that. I actually think that because of how it was written, it does leave too much room for case law to add more and make it easier to make Ricos to fit a lot of circumstances. Almost like the default. So you get a lot of Ricos statewide in Georgia for the same reason. That's why you had a YSL. CT Benny said not guilty. Yolanda said guilty on some, but not Rico. Dr. Charlene said not guilty. Miss Lady said $5 on not guilty. Okay, we got some not guilties in here. Who think he guilty? Y'all not gonna say nothing? Why do people not understand immunity? JoJo said I would be an a-hole and say not guilty for all. Jarvis said not guilty, 6-pack of white women trying to bring Diddy down. Brianna says sad but guilty on most. Andrea said though it was an overreach, I think he's going to be found guilty. Abby said he is guilty of ex-trafficking and prostitution. Well, bribery and coercion is a part of the Rico. So, well, let me take that back. Coercion would have to be a part of the trafficking, and the bribery was a part of the Rico as one of the predicate acts. You said 5 to 10 years may justice be served. That's from Abby. Christine said Diddy has some mess with him, and so was Cassie. Sherman said every witness perjured themselves on the stand, therefore all of their testimony should be thrown out, and then he should be found not guilty. Tomorrow's Leader Sports said not guilty on Rico trafficking. Heck, all of it. Just let him go home, be with his family. Nina Williams said yes, be more specific. He's guilty of prostitution. Okay. Gwen said not guilty or hung jury. Rich Auntie said I think he'll be found guilty on a lesser charge. Southern Bill said we will see. It's like I ain't got no prediction. They said the Mann Act is racist. Well, you know the history of the Mann Act. Kelly said, I like what you said in the last video, relationship versus Rico. Kathy said guilty on prostitution. Stop paying people for the goodies. My Style Sense said not guilty on all. I think the fact Alex could live off of other money made from his wife's abuse or is a disgraceful. Now, I did hear somebody said Alex comes from money. So sometimes just because you come from money don't mean you got access to it. But I did hear that he does come from money. Like his family does horses, has horses and races horses or does something like that. Teen Spice said guilty as homemade sin. JoJo said the white people may cave to the sisters to appear not racist. That's from JoJo. Dr. Charlene said not guilty on all charges. Too much reasonable doubt he will have a white party by July 4th. By Friday? Dr. Charlene. Shanika said a hung jury. Judon said guilty on transportation only, but pardoned by Trump. Trump might come in on the prostitution, yeah. Christine said, to me, Kim Porter was more innocent than Cassie, except for the DV. Gwen said, do a poll so we can see the numbers. Guilty. I will. I'm going to do one. All right, y'all. Thank you for rocking with me all day. I hope I got all of everybody got mixed opinions. That's the way it's supposed to be. Let's see what happened, y'all. We down to the wire. Hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I'm about to get off of here and take a nap because I'm tired than a mug. And so if anything happens, then I'll be back, of course, but hopefully it does not until tomorrow. So I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your day. Hit the like button if you forgot. Subscribe to the channel. And this has really been fun. I'm glad. I would not want to do this with anyone else, even though I say I want to be in the courtroom, because I just don't know who to take their commentary, who to take commentary from in the courtroom, because everyone has an opinion. I'm trying my best to stay in the law. I say what my biases are when it comes to, like, I just like Nicole Westmoreland. Like, I just feel like she would just be bringing it. But apparently they know best, because it sounds like he was connecting to the jurors. So that's what you need. It's not about what I think, what you think. It's about what the jurors think. And so soon, Monday, it will be in the hands of the jurors, and we're all going to know what the fate is for Sean Diddy Combs, one of the greatest, you could call him somewhat of an icon of our generation, with some of the groups and some of the music and the clothing and just who he was or who he is. So, and if he gets out, what will be the new trajectory of his life? How will he be able to rebuild and move on? What would that even look like? And then if he goes to prison, will it be something where we just forget about him and people stop playing him on the radio? And there's just a lot that may go on in this case. And I honestly don't really know. Like I said, from the legal standpoint, I just think the Rico was just too much. I think it was overcharged. I think the trafficking was more of a relationship. And I think the prostitution, but honestly, the Rico might be a hung jury, because you may have some people that believe that they've put it all together, and you may have some people that don't. So let's see. We're going to see soon, that's for sure. So you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. Again, thank y'all again for all of the support, all the super chats, all of the memberships, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know that you enjoyed it by hitting that thumbs up, and I'll holler at you guys later.